beautiful fall afternoon. We're on the campus of Wofford College in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The University of New Hampshire is making their 9th consecutive appearance in the FCS playoffs. Eric Breitenstein leads a potent offensive attack for Wofford, who are making their 5th playoff appearance in the last 6 years. It's the NCAA FCS playoffs. New Hampshire and Wofford coming up next. This afternoon, we welcome you inside Gibbs Stadium in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the home of the Terriers of Wofford out of the Southern Conference, as they take on New Hampshire out of the Colonial Athletic Association. And the winner of this game today will take on the winner of the North Dakota State-South Dakota State game. Hi, everybody. Along with Rocky Boyman, former Notre Dame and NFL linebacker, I'm Mike Gleason. It's always great to have you with us. It's playoff time, Rock, and college football fans are always screaming about the playoffs. Here in the FCS, this is legitimate playoff time. The winner will have to play 4, maybe 5 games for a national championship.
Well, you're right. The FCS is known for a long time what college football fans want, and that is a playoff to decide which team is the best. Not voters, not computers. We're going to decide here on the field.
And this afternoon, we have 2 of the marquee players in FCS, one on the offensive side, one on the defensive side.
Yeah, this really is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object right there. Eric Breitenstein, second leading rusher in FCS football. A real between-the-tackles guy, but has great vision, breaks a lot of tackles, and is deceptively fast. And the guy he'll be facing a lot here today is New Hampshire linebacker Matt Evans. You see right there, 449 career tackles. He's a sideline-to-sideline type guy. Expect a lot of big-time collisions between these 2 marquee players.
One of these teams will slide into the quarterfinals next week. Couldn't ask for a better day. Temperatures in the 70s. Sunny blue skies. We'll be back with the kickoff right after this.
Division I student athletes have higher SAT and ACT scores than college-bound students.
The number of us receiving diplomas
is at an all-time high.
African-American males who are student athletes
are 10% more likely to graduate.
Still think we're just a bunch of dumb jocks?
You need to do your homework.
There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
Welcome back to Spartanburg, New Hampshire, and Wofford. The Wildcats will take the football first. And right now, let's welcome in the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Here's Rontina McCann.
I just now spoke with the Wildcats offensive coordinator, Ryan Carty. They are going with Sean Goldridge as their starting quarterback. He and Andy Bayless have shared this position all season long, partly because of injury, but also because it just works. They are both dual threat quarterbacks. They have nearly identical passing numbers and, of course, run the ball. Even though Goldridge got the start, expect to see number 14's number called this afternoon, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Rontina. We'll talk more about this as the game develops, as we take a look at Sean McDonald in his 14th year. And, of course, as we said at the top of the broadcast, his 9th straight trip into the FCS postseason, and no other team has done that. Mike Ayers in his 25th year as the head coach of Wofford, and he is the winningest coach in school history. And right now, Casey Redfern, a junior from Jamestown, North Carolina, all set to kick this off. Jared Allison and Nico Sturridge back to receive for the Wildcats. Sturridge takes it halfway into the end zone, and they decide to take it at the 25-yard line. Well, Rocky, our first look at the first quarterback. That's number 5, Sean Goldridge.
Yeah, this really is a 2-platoon style team right here. We'll see Goldridge here to start, but then Bayless will get some action too. And we're talking to coaches here this week. It's, you know, they went with Goldridge to open the season, but then he had an injury early on, and Bayless came on and really set the world on fire. So he said, look, let's try to get our best 11 players on the football field, and I think we'll see both quarterbacks here today a lot.
And neither Sean McDonald or Ryan Carty, the offensive coordinator, have ever worked with a 2-quarterback system before. But they say, you know, the locker room, there's no favorites. It doesn't matter who's in there. They're both very productive, and they're all set now for the first play from scrimmage here. Winner goes on to the quarterfinals. First play starts at the 25-yard line. And the redshirt freshman quarterback, Sean Goldrich, didn't like what he saw. There was some miscommunication, and there was a penalty flag.
Yeah, but that's one of those inexcusable things. Usually your first play of the game is a scripted play, and I know they may come out with a different look there, but he's got to find a way to get that play off because, again, usually the first 10, 15 plays are scripted.
Here's our referee today, Jerry Magalanis. And now both teams talking things over with their coaches, so a very awkward start to this football game here in the second round of the FCS playoffs. So we'll keep it right here, and Rocky, let's take a look at some impact players of this game.
Well, absolutely. You know, both teams got some great players. You see right there for New Hampshire, Nico Sturriddy. He is a big-time running back, a dual-threat running back team as well. But he's second in the Colonial Athletic Association in rushing. And you see right there, R.J. Harris. We talked to the coaches yesterday. He's as dynamic of a playmaker they have had on this team in a long time. And on defense, we talked about Evans, but Alan Busby is a big-time sideline-to-sideline linebacker as well.
Harris just 19 yards away from 1,000. Goldrich, the redshirt freshman, ready to go to work now. This will be the first play. And Goldrich keeps it on the left side, and he is driven down to the turf, and he's driven down hard. Not too much to go there with John Roseborough trying to get by a big number 90.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this defensive front for Wofford is really dynamic. A lot of big-time playmakers up there, really stout. Rosenborough, we'll call his name a lot. On the other end, Tarek Odom is a big-time player as well. Another guy we're going to be calling a lot here today.
Out of the shotgun, Goldrich has his man, and coming up very quickly is Stephon Shelton, the cornerback. A very astute defensive player.
He really is. I'll tell you what, Shelton right there, and the other corner, Blake Wiley. Both these are very aggressive, well-tackling cornerbacks, and they really rely on these guys and make a lot of plays.
3rd down and 6. They're 50% on converting 3rd downs this year. Penalty flags drop. And it looked like some movement early in the backfield. Chris Sedian, the
prior
junior.
to the snap, full start on the offense. 5 yards, 3rd down.
He started backing up and tried to swerve out to the flats, and he did it a little bit early.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is not the way New Hampshire would like to start this game. You have to think, Wofford is definitely the team with the advantage here today, and coming in on their turf, got to find a way to start a little bit better.
3rd down, first possession of the ball game. Goldrich goes upstairs, and this one is almost picked off. Boy, Blake Wiley, the senior from Fort Mill, South Carolina, thought he had it, and if he would have pulled it in, it would have been his 3rd.
And Goldrich just got introduced to Alvin Sino, a big-time playmaker right there. Took him one right under the chin right there by Goldrich. Sino is, again, a great player. Has really come on, kind of battled some injuries early in this season, but he's a 3rd leading tackler on the team. Is a leader in sacks with 5. He can really get after the quarterback.
Mike MacArthur, the junior from Northampton, New Jersey, on to punt from his 10-yard line. Brad Nosek standing back at his own 35. And Nosek comes back to about the 36, and he has nowhere to go. Good coverage by the Wildcat punt coverage team. And now he somehow slipped out.
Yeah, I think they're going to call him down back there, but some good running nonetheless.
Wow. There was a scrum going on back at the 36-yard line, and suddenly Nosek came out of nowhere up to the midfield stripe.
Yeah, we'll see. He feels this punt right here, and we'll see if he in fact did go down.
I didn't see his knee touch.
He didn't go down at all right there. He just kept right on running.
Well, unless there was a whistle, the fans here at Wofford did not like that call.
Right. Yeah, and that's the question right there. Whether it looks like, in fact, the referees did blow the whistle, and the Wofford fans are upset about that, and rightfully so.
So the Terriers force a punt on the first possession. Now they will start working at the 37-yard line. James Lawson opens up the game, the sophomore from Pickens, South Carolina. Usually it's Brian Cass, and there's that running game now up just shy of the 40-yard line.
Yeah, anyone who knows what Wofford runs, they are a triple option team. A lot of real high up-tempo team, but they're not just triple option. We'll see some trap option. We'll see some power, a lot of different looks. And they got a lot of running backs that can tote the rock, too.
Well, Donovan Johnson, the junior from McDonough, Georgia, gets the first call. He picks up a couple, so it's 2nd and 8 now on their first possession. Here's the pitch outside. Breitenstein is smothered at the 40-yard line. Boy, good gang tackling by the Wildcats.
Yeah, it really is so far in the first 2 plays here. The Wildcats doing a great job against this proficient running attack here. And again, if you're just now tuning into this game, Wofford likes to run the football. They've never passed more than 8 times in any one game. So they are going to pound it out on the ground. That's why they are the second leading rushing team in FCS right now.
On average, about 6.8 passes a game, 59 plus running the football. And they face their first 3rd down. Breitenstein up over the 45. Had to get to the 47 for the first down. He's going to be about a yard shy. It's going to bring up a 4th down for the Terriers.
And we see right there, Breitenstein up the middle. He gets at the ball on the outside on the pitch. They find a way to get the ball to both him and Donovan Johnson. They're the 2 workhorses for this Wofford running attack.
Well, 4th down, first possession. They're still in their own territory, and Mike Ayers decides he wants to go for it.
And most option teams, they are a 4-down team. We see they've gone for it on 4th down 17 times this year, so this is not a big surprise.
And they've converted 10 times for a 59% rate, and they've got it this time. There he goes, Breitenstein. Touchdown. That's his career number 63. And with that run, Rocky, he moves up to number 2 all time in the Southern Conference.
And a great call to go for it on 4th down right there. And just a great call right here. Look, takes the ball up the middle, breaks 1 tackle at the line of scrimmage, but other than that, no one touches him. You got to wonder where the second line of defense for New Hampshire was. Looked like they were really trying to crowd that line of scrimmage like defenses like to do on 3rd and 4th down and short. But no one was at the second level, and Breitenstein just took it to the house.
Casey Redfern on for the extra points. It's true. And just like that, the Terriers on their first possession of their 2nd round game. 4th down play. Mr. Breitenstein, looks pretty bright on this play, takes it into the house. 7-0. .11:51 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0 Wofford on top thanks to the running prowess of number 7 there, Eric Breitenstein. You see his numbers there, 5,408. And with that run, he just moved up to number 2 all time in the Southern Conference. Number 1, of course, is Adrian Peterson. He's got a long way to go to catch him. He had 6,559, but what a career number 7's had.
And Breitenstein's one of those guys, we were talking to the coaches and players yesterday. He does everything perfect. You want to think, does he have a messy room or something? They say no. He actually keeps his room real neat, too. So just the epitome of the kind of player you want if you're a head coach. Breitenstein really gets the job done.
And Breitenstein also with 63 rushing touchdowns now. That's only 5th. He's 1 more from taking over the 4th spot. Armani Edwards of Appalachian State, he's 3rd with 65. And again, it's Adrian Peterson with 84.
And Breitenstein, again, is one of the Walter Payton finalists, 1 of 3 here for this year. So he has a chance to take home that big-time trophy.
Redford ready to kick off again. His 2nd kickoff already this afternoon. Nico Storetti Jared Allison, the deep man for the Wildcats of New Hampshire. And it's another good kick by Redfern. And Sturridge for the second time will take a knee. And for the second time, New Hampshire will start at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, New Hampshire's got to find a way to get back in this game. When you're facing an option team, the last thing you want to do is get behind because they're a ball control team. And you see right there Mike Ayers, his whole career has run that triple option, loves to control the game on the ground. He's done it well for a long time.
Mike Ayers, like yourself, a former linebacker, like yourself from Cincinnati. But, you know, what the...
he is a black belt in karate, right? And I'm not even... What's the lowest belt? I don't even know, but I couldn't even touch that. So
isn't it white?
I'll stay away from Mike Ayers in a physical confrontation.
Second possession now for the Wildcats, and they're going to keep it on the ground to no avail. Hit the line of scrimmage, and there's nowhere to go. Sturridge gets the call. And what about the New Hampshire game plan right now, Ron?
Well, for New Hampshire, they got to win on first down defensively, which they did in that last series. They forced some second and longs, but then obviously gave it up the long run there on fourth down. So they really got to do a better job of that, especially, again, against this ball control type offense. And also, I think one of those two quarterbacks, either Goldrich or Vallis, really need to step up and be the guy. It can't be just a two-platoon system. One of them need to be dynamic today.
Goldrich fires over the middle. This one's complete to R.J. Harris, and Harris picks up about 4, but again, he's met immediately. And usually that's Mike Nyan there, the inside linebacker, making the stop. But Harris is known for his yards after the catch.
Yeah, he really is. And again, we saw him running around yesterday. Real long-legged guy out there, has some good hips. And a very fast guy. They got to try to find a way to get him the ball inside, outside, down the field, get in his hands.
Trips to the bottom of your screen. 5 wideouts altogether. This one's complete over the middle. And it's going to be a first down for the Wildcats. It's their first down as Joey Orlando gets his 165th career reception as he moves into the 6th spot all time at New Hampshire.
I mean, Goldrich already, he's just feeling the pressure all day by this front 7 here, the front 4 especially of Wofford. They can really get after the quarterback and cause a lot of problems.
First down, trips to the bottom of your screen for Goldrich. Comes out in the flat. It's Harris. Harris looking for the block. He's up over the 40-yard line, stopped at the 42, and he's brought down.
And that's what they're going to have to do right now. Is instead, they can't just afford to drop back and wait and 7-step, 5-step drops. They got to get the ball out of the hands versus that rush up front. So I like that play right there. Get it out of the hands quick, get it in the hands of your receivers, and let them break some tackles.
Philip LeGrand made that last tackle, and look at that defensive play. Wow, Blake Wiley, that's the second time he's been all over the receiver, and he wasn't quite sure if he wanted to pick 6 or if he wanted to lay some wood.
Yeah, and right there, Wiley did a great job, but Joey Orlando missed the block. That's what happened right there. You see, he tried to get the block, and he just ran right by that, Wiley did, and had a big-time dynamic play right there, first portion of 3rd and long. Great play.
3rd down, and about 8 yards to go. Out of the shotgun, and he's going down. That is sack number 21 for the Terriers this year. And he was blown dead. But it's going to bring up another punting situation.
And that was Alvin Siano again. This kid is fast off the edge, but that right there looks like he came underneath. And the thing about Wofford is they don't have to blitz a lot because they can just rush forward because they got guys that can get after the quarterback, and they can just leave the rest of the guys in coverage. But Siano, again, right there, 6'2", 215 pounds. Just a great player versus South Carolina a couple weeks ago. He had 12 tackles, an interception, and a sack, forced fumble.
Over progress was stopped. 4th down.
So the Wildcats will have to punt it again. You mentioned Siano. He's only a junior, too, out of Louisiana. Came in with 59 tackles, 5 sacks, a couple of forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and that pick you talked about. So some pretty impressive numbers for the junior linebacker, as Mike MacArthur will be punting this time from about the 17-yard line. Nosek is standing back at the 25. Nosek calls for the fair catch, and they'll start this one just about the same place the last one started. But the last time they scored on a 52-yard run by Breitenstein. Second possession for the Terriers coming up. Wofford about to start their second possession from the 37 as we check in with Rontino.
Just like New Hampshire, Wofford has had some injuries at quarterback, so Brian Cass has been hurt this season. He did not get the start. He will play, but we will see James Lawson and Michael Weimer rotate in as well. They want to keep Cass as fresh as possible as they make their playoff run.
Well, thank you, Rontino. That's good intel because that first possession, I was kind of confused why Cass wasn't in there. Cass, a redshirt junior. Lawson, a sophomore, and Weimer, a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, all three of those guys can get the job done. Weimer especially, he's a 6'5" freshman, good-looking kid. He had a 73-yard run for a touchdown earlier in the season. So, you know, next man up. It's kind of the motto these coaches always have.
Well, the Terriers start from the 37-yard line. Lawson, about a 58% passer, although, as Rocky said, you're not going to see a lot of passes. You're going to see number 7. Just like that, carry the ball a lot. His biggest game this year, Rocky, 321 yards.
That is a lot of yards on the ground, and they do it very, very well. We talked to this New Hampshire team. They were happy they got that extra bye week, so they had extra time to practice against this Wofford triple action rushing attack. It's one of those hard things because you don't see it a lot. And when you do, it happens so very fast.
Picked up 3, so it's 2nd and 7. They keep it on the ground again. This is Johnson, the junior out of Georgia. And you look at the size of Wofford and the distribution of scholarships. Mike Ayers, he goes recently, he had 33 recruits and from 12 different states. So there's a lot of diversity there.
Yeah, and give him a lot of credit for being able to go down the road and get these guys to come to this place. But what a great place to come, right? Great facilities, great football stadium here. This is a good place to come.
So now the Terriers face a 3rd down. There's the pitch to the outside, and it's going to be a first down for Wofford.
To it right there, you already see them linemen getting the second level, chopping guys down, cutting them. It's so hard to play this style of offense right here, and Wofford already has a lot of momentum. But we see New Hampshire trying to stack that box. They only go with a high single safety deep, trying to get that 8th man in the box, which is usually Trey Williams, Manny Asom, Nick Cefalo. Those safeties are especially going to have a big game today.
Breitenstein breaks to the outside. He's inside the 35-yard line. Mike Ayers saying he only runs to maybe a 4.6, but he has great vision, knows where the hole's going to be.
Great vision. If you're a fullback in a triple option attack, you got to have that. He definitely does. And see right there, they ran a little trap option right there. They pulled the left guard, kicked out the defensive lineman, and again, he just finds the hole. Simple as that. Eric Breitenstein, again, just gets it done. Just a football playing dude, man.
Went over 100 yards every game but one this year. The Offensive Player of the Year, back-to-back seasons in the Southern Conference. He was the preseason Offensive Player of the Year both years, so he backed it up both times. Johnson finds a hole this time, and Johnson's down near the 20-yard line, dragged down at the 21-yard line. Hayden Knudsen, the freshman from Alexandria, Virginia, finally got his arms on him.
And I'll tell you one thing New Hampshire's doing I'm kind of questioning right now is they got 6 guys on the line of scrimmage right there. You see 4 down linemen, 2 outside linebackers, but it's the second level where they're getting burned right now. So I think they need to stack that extra guy inside the box. Once he gets through past that line of scrimmage, they have another tackler and they're able to bring him down.
Breitenstein again inside the 20. Penalty flag dropped at the end of the play. The yellow
on the carry, holding tackle by number 78, Sean McCann. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's going to be another first down for Wofford. That's 77.
Yeah.
So it goes against Jake Miles, the senior from Charlottesville, Virginia. And this team doesn't get penalized very often either, Rocky. Less than 5 penalties a game for only about 36 and a half yards a contest.
Yeah, they only got 48 penalties on the year coming into this game compared to New Hampshire, who has 62. So a very well-disciplined team. They don't beat themselves.
Out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Johnson, first man through, and he's inside the 25, down to about the 24-yard line. You know, Rocky, you've got Donovan Johnson, you've got Breitenstein. I mean, you've got running backs all over your board, and I noticed number 22, Ray Smith, a true freshman from Spartanburg. He's been in there on a couple of plays here early.
Well, and that's what's important. They have 6 running backs that have over 200 yards rushing, including the quarterbacks. So again, they're always bringing in fresh legs, always have a fresh body, and that's very a tough thing for a defense to face, those fresh guys all the time.
And this time the quarterback keeps it, Lawson.
Falls on the ground.
And New Hampshire says they have it, but the official, the line judge, says no, he was down. And so the possession will remain with Wofford.
By New Hampshire.
No, New Hampshire does have it. So the Wildcats get the first break as far as turnovers. And Wofford, they've only turned it over 11 times coming in, but 3 fumbles against South Carolina.
They did, and they were in that game versus South Carolina until they put the ball on the ground 3 times, like you just said. But New Hampshire desperately needed that right there. We'll see exactly what happened. I want to say it was Evans. Yeah, right there. The big-time playmaking linebacker, Mike Evans, with a big-time play, getting New Hampshire back in this game.
Wildcats get the football. They're now +8 in turnover margin, but they trail here in Spartanburg by 7. Wofford on top 7-0, but Rocky, they turn it over. Only 12 turnovers, but 4 now in the last 2 games.
You're absolutely right. They lead the Southern Conference in turnover margin, but right there you see Matt Evans, that big-time playmaking linebacker we talked about at the opening of the game, gets a left hand in right there, stripping the ball. In a great play right there, getting a turnover in the red zone. That's one thing Coach McDonald talked about for New Hampshire is, Matt Evans, a great linebacker, lots of tackles, but has been missing some of those big plays this year compared to 2011. But right there in this playoff game, gets a big-time play, gets their offense back to football.
And Brontina told us at the top of the broadcast we'd see both quarterbacks. There's Andy Bayless, the sophomore from Bedford, New Hampshire, getting his first snap, and he fumbled the snap. Not a good start for Andy Bayless. And you talked about both quarterbacks pretty even. Goldrich about 59%, Bayless 58%. But Bayless has 18 touchdowns and just 3 INTs.
Yeah, if you had to say one was more the runner or who's the more the passer, you'd say Bayless is a bit more the runner. He opened up the Townsend game with a 77-yard rushing touchdown. So we'll see if that's more the game plan with him in.
Play action. Bayless comes out firing, has his man wide open at the 40-yard line. And he's all the way up to the 45, and Joey Orlando has his second catch.
It was a great job by Joey Orlando up the sideline right there. He's the second leading receiver on this football team. Finally got a good exchange. It looks like they were playing some zone defense. He got over top of the corner and just underneath the safety right there. Broke a tackle. Wofford up close to the 50-yard line.
Bayless goes back to work, fires near side at the 49. It hit the ground. And it falls incomplete. So the intended receiver was Justin Mello, the junior from Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Working out of the shotgun, Goldrich back in at quarterback. He's scrambling, back at the 30, and he fires. Nice catch at the 45 if he holds on. They're going to say he was out of bounds.
That was just a good job by Bayless right there, keeping that play alive. Looked like he was going to get sacked for a big loss, but credit him for moving to his left, getting outside the pocket. Actually, looks like they're not going to give him a catch on that play right there.
Now he ran out of real estate, so it's going to be 3rd and 10. Inside 5 minutes of the first quarter now. The Wildcats have the ball at the 45 of their own territory. Goldrich has nowhere to go, and he's going down. He fumbled the football. And Mike Kosha, the sophomore center, jumped on it. And it's a good thing, too. Keep in mind that Goldrich is a redshirt freshman. Probably should have tucked it.
Yeah, definitely should have tucked that ball right there. But I question the call. They ran 4 verticals, which is a deep developing route right there. And again, against this Wofford defensive front who gets after the quarterback, I think you got to go get the ball out of your hands a little bit faster, which I know is tough on 3rd and 10. But again, I don't think they're going to have much luck trying to go to a 5 and a 7-step drop today.
Well, MacArthur standing at the 25. Brad Nosek now back at his 23. It's a low spiral kick, and Nosek goes all the way back to the 10-yard line. He loses possession, and he jumps on it at the 9. So a decent field position, back-to-back possessions. Now they'll start from the 9-yard line. 2012 NCAA Division I Championship continues next weekend. Quarterfinal games on December 8th. All games will be on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships.
Okay, looks like we're going to get a look at this play again right here. It looked like the ball went a little bit deeper than he wanted to. You'd like to think you want to get back on that ball and then turn around and try to catch it right there. But fortunately for Wofford, they were to at least get on top of that football.
Lawson stays at quarterback despite the fumble, and they've got some running room again all the way up to the 25. And I can feel for the Wildcat defense because I thought it was the first man that had the ball.
And it's these linebackers that this is the toughest thing I know, because I've played against some triple option teams with the Naval Academies I used to face at Notre Dame. It's really a vision problem. You just don't know who's getting the ball. Is it the dive? Is it the quarterback? Is it the pitch? And when they run this triple option with the efficiency that they do, it's so hard for those guys to see.
That was 39. Nosek with his 19th carry this year. He's averaging almost 7.5 yards a game. And there's the guy who just can break a game wide open. Breitenstein again all the way up over the 45 to about the 48-yard line.
And again, with so much of that motion going on, the quarterback coming, the pitch man, sometimes you forget about that dive. But they've got to find a way to stop Eric Breitenstein right there. Again, they pull the left guard right there. And again, he just breaks a few tackles. Nothing exceptionally pretty about that run right there except for the result.
Well, Wofford closing out the season with back-to-back overtime games and then lost to South Carolina after that game was tied at 7 in the fourth quarter. No problem so far getting that offense hitting 5th gear. They're at the midfield stripe now as Nosek gets the call again. I was going to ask if you missed your playing days, but a day like this when you don't know who has the football, it's probably better to be in the booth. Huh?
You don't. I even asked the New Hampshire coach, Sean McDonald, this week, did you guys do the practice without the football thing? And he said, yeah, because when you play these guys, everybody's got to be on their assignment. Who has the dive, who has the quarterback, who has the pitch, and it gives you absolute fits back there.
Fumble loose on the ground all the way back at the 40. A little miscommunication with the snap. And speaking of that, Rocky, you know, the defensive coordinator, John Lyons, most defensive coordinators say it's hard to simulate that in practice. Said it's not so much the simulation as we take another look at this one, but it's the speed of that offensive line, how they come off the ball.
Yeah, it really is. But right there you see just with the snap just a little bit low going between his legs. But like you said, it's just so hard to simulate in practice, the speed, especially at Wofford. I'm really impressed with how fast they get that pitch out there. They know when that quarterback reads, whoever it is, when he reads that pitch is going outside, boom, that thing's gone out of his hand.
Nosek, he has it. It's 3rd and 18. He's up back to the original line of scrimmage, but that'll bring up another punting situation for Wofford.
Again, just a lot of success up the middle. I'll tell you what, if I'm New Hampshire's defensive coach right now, John Lyons, I'm saying, let them pitch the ball outside. We're not going to sit here and let them run it up the gut on us. There's nothing more demoralizing for a defense than getting run up the middle on you. So look to maybe try to remedy that here next series.
Redfern punting at about the 37. High punts, and the fair catch is called for inside the 10-yard line. And Jared Allison, the redshirt freshman, had it. He dropped it, but a good thing he jumped on top of it.
You're right. You can see these teams have had a week off here because just some of the football fundamentals things, the snap, the exchange, catching the punts are just a little bit off right now. These teams need to get back in sync.
So the Wildcats have possession of the ball, trailing by a touchdown. You see North Dakota State looking to repeat. The winner of this game will take on the winner of that North Dakota State-South Dakota State game. And how about Appalachian State, making their 20th career appearance?
Yeah, they've been in for a long time right there. And you see, again, defense ruling the day here. 4 of the nation's top 6 defenses are still in this playoff here.
Speaking of defense, more after this play in the Southern Conference. Here's some razzle-dazzle now, and it's the end around. And up over the 15-yard line. So a nice pickup that time, and it's Sturridge. Sturridge actually getting the call out of the backfield. And he brings it up close to the first down. But defensively, you look at Appalachian State's, Wofford, and Georgia Southern. 3-way tie, Southern Conference. Defense, Georgia Southern's defense was the tiebreaker. They gave up 165 points, or 164. Wofford gave up 165. That's how tight it was.
That's how close it is in this FCS.
Goldrich, play action down the middle. Harris has it at the 40. R.J. Harris, the sophomore out of Maryland, big-time receiver.
That was a nice job. He came from the right side of the field right there he rolled out to his left. Look at the athleticism right there, jumping up, catching that football out of the air. Again, you need to find a way to get him the football, whether it's handing it to him, throwing it to him. Any way you can get in his hands. R.J. Harris is a force out there.
And he just became the 5th receiver at New Hampshire to go over 1,000. There's Harris again. And the penalty flag dropped right after they pushed him out of bounds at about the 41-yard line.
There may have been defensive interference right there on R.J. Harris on the corner. Yeah, either that or he might have stepped out of bounds and came back in.
The ruling on the field, number 15 of the offense, stepped out of bounds on his own, came back in and caught the pass. That's lost it down. Correction, illegal touching, lost it down at the line of scrimmage, will be second down. The quarter will be extended, 1 play.
Good call, Rocky. Of course, if he's forced out of bounds, he can come back in, but that wasn't the case.
Right, and you can touch the ball. You just cannot be the first player to touch the ball once you go out of bounds. But credit right there, the cornerback right there, I think it was Shelton right there, did a nice jam, just kind of got him off his spot a little bit, and then looked like his left foot went out of bounds right there. It's a shame because they really had a nice play right there. It looked like it was cover 2, and he got over top of the cornerback and right underneath the safety. That's exactly where he should have went with that football. Got to find a way to stay in bounds.
Sure, Ryan Carty, the offensive coordinator, happy to see Harris getting involved early, though, as Bayless is back on the field, and he rumbles to the midfield stripe. And it looks like he's going to pick up a first down on the very final play of the first quarter. So we played 15 minutes. The only score so far, who else? Eric Breitenstein, 52 yards, his 63rd touchdown of his career. 7-0 Wofford on top.
NCAA.com/shop has all the hottest officially licensed 2012 championship merchandise. With over 100,000 items for over 500 college teams, everything you need is in one location. You'll get 365-day hassle-free returns, great customer service, and $4.99 3-day shipping on any size order. Remember, for all your college gear, head to NCAA.com/shop.
Well, the winner of this football game will take on the winner of that South Dakota State game. North Dakota State, the defending national champs.
Yeah, and look, Georgia Southern right there taking on Central Arkansas. Georgia Southern with a #1 ranked rushing offense, 392 yards per game. They're the only team better than Wofford, taking on that Central Arkansas team who's led by Windrick Smothers.
Looking forward to seeing Old Dominion play. They have a sophomore quarterback by the name of Taylor Heineke. Against New Hampshire in a 64-61 victory, he passed for 730 yards.
And unfortunately, New Hampshire's going to have their name in the record books. He was the most total yards in any football conference, FBS or FCS, 791 in that game.
First play of the second quarter for the Wildcats, trailing by 7. Goldrich back at quarterback. Sturridge gets the call, breaks outside, and he has another first down for the Wildcats. Knew exactly where that marker was, went out of bounds.
And that was a smart move right there. I think the heart and soul of this defense is up the middle, so they can find a way to bounce this thing outside. What a great decision. He saw with a vision right there and then breaks a tackle with a stiff arm. That's a nice job, a nice run by Sturridge right there.
Goldrich. Well, he didn't get the first down. Goldrich does on the quarterback sneak. Gives me a second. Now, you talked about this at the top of the broadcast, but this is how tight that quarterback race is. Goldrich won the job in camp. First game of the season, named the CAA Rookie of the Week, threw a couple of touchdown passes. As he completes the ball right there. Again, it's Orlando. He's down to the 30-yard line, but gets dinged up on the second play of the second game. Bales comes in, throws 5 touchdowns. Then he's named the CAA Offensive Player of the Week. The following week, he threw for 2 more touchdowns and 315 yards. Goldrich comes back, and again, he wins Rookie of the Week with 4 touchdowns against Maine, and they've been trading ever since.
That's a good problem to have, I guess, if you're a quarterback or if you're a coach.
Back and forth, and Goldrich has the job right now. Sturridge has the ball. He's up close to another first down. It looks like New Hampshire's starting to settle down.
Yeah, they really are. And they kind of went with the up-tempo here a little bit, which is a little bit uncharacteristic for them. They're trying to get to that line, try to keep that Wofford defense on their heels a little bit. I like the call.
Looks like he just picked up the first down, so they're moving the chains, so it's another first down for the Wildcats. And you talked about the fact they have 471 yards of offense, but what great balance, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Coming in this game, 234 on the ground, 237 in the air. That's about as balanced as you can get.
It doesn't get much closer than that. Goldrich, shot of the gun, fumble the football. And again, the Terriers have it. It's like big number 97, E.J. Speller, the redshirt freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia, gets his 3rd fumble recovery of the year.
Yeah, just some great job rushing right there, but it was the nose guard, E.J. Speller, right there that came in, got a right paw on that football and knocked it out. And, boy, I'll tell you what, these Wofford defenders are coming now. They better get that ball out of their hands, or there's going to be a lot of this here today.
Speller gets the forced fumble and the fumble recovery. And the Wildcats were moving the chains, but they give it up.
We used to call that the triple play, the sack, the strip, and the fumble recovery. That was a great play right there by Speller.
The hat trick, huh? There's an end around. A lot of black jerseys. And up over the 50-yard line is Will Irwin, the redshirt freshman from Land O'Lakes, Florida.
Yeah, just a nice look. Any way they can get it, they're going to find a way to trick you up here a little bit. And this was just a reverse right here to Irwin. He had some good blocking downfield, some great vision right there. You see his offensive lineman blocking downfield. And that's what's so tough against this Wofford team is you think they're just coming with a triple option, and then they pull a play like that out. It just always got you on your heels.
Irwin only 7 catches in this offense. That's his 9th carry. He's averaging almost 13 yards per carry. Breitenstein. You know, Breitenstein was, what, 5'11", 225. Not only great vision, but great balance as well, huh?
He really does. And when we saw him yesterday, just a real thick-legged guy. You know, just a guy that he's hard to get your arms around if you're a defender out there. But he really does a good job, again, with the vision, but just breaks the tackles. And like that run right there, nothing really fancy about it, but he just gets the job done. Look, and that's a 7-yard gain.
Second down and 3. Breitenstein over the century mark already here in the second quarter. 109 total. There's the option near side. And it's run out of bounds. That's Octavius Harden, the redshirt freshman from Conover.
That was the best job New Hampshire's done all day of playing that triple option. Nick Cefalo did a good job of staying home and coming up, flying up, and tackling that pitch man.
Run out of bounds, shy of the first down marker. 12:38 to go before halftime. It's going to be third down. Third and about 2, or maybe a yard and a half for the Terriers. And the give once again was to Harden, and he's going to be stopped shy of the first down, as the Wildcats were not fooled on that play.
No, they weren't, but it looks like there's no thought right now of bringing on that punt team or that field goal unit. They're going to go for it on fourth down the second time already here today.
Yeah, the first time resulted in a 52-yard touchdown.
Why not try it again, right?
Terriers 11 of 18 now, converting fourth down so far in this 2012 season. I don't think he's going to get it.
He's not, and because of Matt Evans right there, came off the offense's left side right there, blitzed that gap, and made a big-time play stopping that fourth down. Awesome play by that linebacker right there, Evans.
Matt Evans, the senior, fifth-year senior from Hanover. Last year's Buck Buchanan Award winner for the best defensive player in the FCS. 7-0, Wofford on top, but New Hampshire gets the ball back.
Right.
Back in Spartanburg, 7-0 Terriers on top, but this time they turn it over on downs.
Yeah, they really did. And I'll tell you what, it's because of a big-time play again by Matt Evans. We'll see on the replay right here. Calvin Cantrell, the left tackle, was supposed to get him, but he's just too fast. Blitzing that gap right there. A run-stopping blitz called right there by John Lyons of New Hampshire, and what a big play right there.
An ACC title and a place in the BCS bowl game is on the line tonight on ESPN. Senior quarterback E.J. Manuel and the Seminoles of Florida State look to punch their ticket to the Orange Bowl with a victory over the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. The Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game, Florida State, Georgia Tech tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. 7-0 Wofford on top of New Hampshire. The Wildcats with the football coming in averaging about 36 and a half points a game. Still looking for that first score. They were moving the chains the last possession as Velas gets the call and they throws it back to Goldrich. Well, how about that? And there's number 4 again, Ciano, Alvin Ciano. He was not fooled at all.
He was. That play looked like it started to have some, but Ciano flew up right there and made a nice play. Again, trying to get both quarterbacks involved, but nice job by Wofford's defense, especially Ciano. Again, not being fooled, staying home. Again, if you see that quarterback rolling out that way, he's doing it for a reason.
And Baylor stays in the shotgun now, and Goldrich is back on the sidelines. Steretti up over the 40-yard line, picks up a couple, but it's going to bring up a third down.
That's the only problem with trying to go with a trick play right there on first down. You wind up losing a couple, and now you wind up with a third and long type situation, which is tough. Again, these Wofford defenders can now just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback.
Wildcats just 1 for 4 on third down, coming in at 50% on the year. Bayless has 3 wide receivers to the top of your screen, and he's going down. He had no time to even look downfield. Wow, number 57, Mike McCrimmon, the junior from Center Hill, Florida, was in there like a bullet.
And I don't think they expected that play at all right there. Usually they only rush 4, but right here on this play, they bring the middle linebacker, Mike McCrimmon, who is unblocked and comes right in there for the easy sack. It doesn't get much better than that. But again, I think over the course of this game, it's been all four-man rush. But right there, they brought that middle linebacker, and it created a big play.
Not only the Cats changed quarterbacks, now they're changing punters. Brad Praske, a sophomore. He's averaging 44. Heavy rush, gets it off. It's a low line drive kick. Nosek is tripped up immediately at the 33-yard line. Inside 10 minutes, defense, the name of the game.
It really is. This Wofford defense is on the prowl, on the attack right there. Again, Mike McCrimmon with a big play.
And this fan wasn't lying. He is on ESPN3, as so is Rontina McCann. Rontina?
Coach Ayers told his team they cannot stop our offense, but we're stopping ourselves. He is trying to rein them in and get into the end zone again. Starter Brian Cass has been warming up on the sideline, guys. He's been nursing a hip pointer, so that's why we sometimes see him in these games this season, and he's out right now, but maybe he's the spark they need.
Well, Rontina, 5 of the last 6 games, they say the big play has been missing. Of course, they got that big 52-yard run by Breitenstein. And here's the pitch to the outside, and once again, number 46, Hayden Knutson, a true freshman. He's already played a pretty good game defensively.
Yeah, he really has. And this secondary's got to play well. Again, they got to come up and be a force in this run game. It can't just be Evans. It can't just be Busby back there. It's Asim, it's Cefalo. It's all these guys. Trey Williams, we haven't called his name yet, but he's got to have a big-time factor in this game as well.
But the other side of the coin, they did pick up 6, so it's 2nd and 4. So nice gain on first down. Lawson, nowhere to go, and he's brought down by Manny Assam, a junior from Bloomfield, New Jersey.
And again, that was just perfect assignment football. Somebody had the dive, and right there, Asim was on the pitch. He's the second leading tackler on this New Hampshire team. He came into this game with 64, had top 5 tackles for loss and an interception. And again, he's got to be a force in this run game here today.
Now Wofford faces a third down, and like New Hampshire, they are also 1 for 4, converting third downs here this afternoon. Give it to number 7. He'll get you a first down as Breitenstein rumbles down inside the 45 to about the 42-yard line.
Exactly, you're right. If you're in a short yardage situation right there, give it to your best player and make him make something happen. That's exactly what he did. Right there, just takes it. They got the pull right there by the big left guard, Tamiko Gregory, and he just followed him again, just using that great vision, breaks a couple tackles. How many times have we seen that play right there today, Mike?
Well, we're going to see it a couple of more times. I
Sure
think,
we
before
will.
The afternoon's over. 125 yards already for Breitenstein, who comes in averaging 150. He gets the call again and wiggles his way down to the 40-yard line, picks up a couple on the play. We mentioned the 3:21 that he ran for, Rocky. That is a conference record, but it's still not a Wofford record. Sean Graves ran for 3:23 at one point.
Yeah, they got a great history of the run game here at this college. 127 yards today already. Most of them on that one long touchdown run.
Second down. There's a pass, and it's complete. Out to the outside, and the ball comes loose. And New Hampshire has it. So the Terriers have coughed up the football, fumbled, and they fumbled twice after the completed ball, and it's not that often they complete passes around here.
It really isn't, and that's probably why they don't try many times, because what's the old saying? Three things can happen when you pass, and two of them are bad, and that's what happens right there. That ball comes out on the first pass play of the game. Looks like it was Asim right there getting a left hand and popping that ball out, and then that's a great job right there. Credit Knudsen right there following that ball before it went out of bounds.
It was Rob Green who had the reception and then coughed it up. Wildcats go back to work. They keep it on the ground, and breaking to the outside is Sedian. Chris Sedian's a junior, East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, averaging over 6 yards a carry.
And Sean McDonald, the New Hampshire head coach, talked about it. If they can get Storetti into the open field, he is deceptively fast. He is really good, got a high-end top speed on the back end here. If they can get out in some space, he can beat you now.
Here's Harris. Speaking of getting in space, he tried that time, but he's driven out of bounds by Josh Holt, a junior from Fayetteville, Georgia.
He tried the quick pass again right there. Again, I like the call, but credit this swarming defense of Wofford right there, getting two guys out on the perimeter, bringing him down.
Third down and short now as we take a look at the early numbers now. Fumbles, turnovers, both coaching staff says turnovers will be key in this game. Third and short now out of the gun. Empty backfield. Goldrich has the first down up to the midfield stripe. He's brought down by Alvin Ciano again.
And that was a great job of vision right there by Goldrich. That play was designed to go in the right A gap, but he saw it was clogged up, took it to the left, and got the first down. That's great vision by him.
Storetti. And he's inside Wofford territory. He's gang tackled. Again, number 4, Ciano's in.
Yeah, and they pulled both the right tackle Bauman and the tight end Ciccone on that play, but Storetti just got out in front of them and said, heck, I'll take it on my own here, and got a couple yards out of it at least.
Looks like he was feeling some pain going off the field there. They say he is exceptionally fast once he breaks into the open field. Hasn't had a chance against this Wofford defense yet. Goldrich over the middle. It's complete and dropped. Brian Ciccone. Now keep in mind, folks, that Harold Spears, who has 4 touchdowns at the tight end, a tight end that can stretch the defense, he's out with an injury.
Yeah, he really is. That means Ciccone's going to be the guy. And that was a seam play they ran last week, and Ciccone caught it for a touchdown. But that time right there, it was wide open. He's got to find a way to hold on to that ball. But like you said, it was a big-time loss with Harold Spears not being in this football game. They lose the ability to stretch the field.
Third and about 8, 5 wideouts for Goldrich, working out of the gun. Harris has the ball. First down, he's inside the 35. R.J. Harris.
And he fit this ball into a tight window. They dropped 7 back into coverage. And McCrimmon right there looked like he was surprised R.J. Harris even caught that football, but a great job of him getting the first down.
Sedian tries to power his way to the 30-yard line, picks up a couple on the play. Getting back to R.J. Harris, he's had 8 100-yard career games, and he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he has I think we're going to be hearing his name for a long time. Again, like you said, only a sophomore. He was all ACC first team, 18th nationally in receptions per game with 6.64. He gets it done.
New Hampshire, of course, they've had some big-name players that played for the Wildcats. As Goldrich goes back to pass, this one's hanging up there. It's going to be picked off. Ciano dropped at the 32-yard line, but Alvin Ciano has his second INT of the season, and Wofford has the football back.
Yeah, he had one last week, kind of like that. Just the ball happened to fall in his hands, but he was Johnny on the spot on that play. It looks like one of those big defensive linemen got a paw up and knocked that ball down before it really ever got out of his hands. Actually, it wasn't even a hand. It was the helmet of Tarek Odom right there. Bounced it off his helmet right in the hands of Ciano. You know, it's about being in the right place at the right time. He definitely was right there on that play.
And James Lawson, the sophomore from Pickens, South Carolina, remains at quarterback for Wofford now with 5:25 to go before halftime. Both teams averaging in the 30s as Lawson wants to call a timeout. Didn't like what he saw. Both teams averaging in the 30s, and we're still stuck at 7-0. So I guess it's true. Offense will sell some tickets. Defense wins the championships, huh?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Both of these teams got to find a way to keep holding on to the football. Too many turnovers in this game.
Back in Spartanburg, 7-0. Eric, the star here, Eric Breitenstein, of course, 3,100-yard games. Make it 31. We're still in the first half.
Well, he has 10 rushes for 129 yards, and they've all been like that one up the middle. He's just grounding out those hard yards. And again, I can't tell you how demoralizing it is for a defense. If you got a guy that is just pounding you up the middle, like Eric Breitenstein is, boy, is he doing a great job of it here today. That was the long touchdown that got them on the board first.
31 100-yard games. He had 125 against South Carolina. He and Jeremy Hill of LSU are the only two backs to go over 100 against South Carolina this year. And Breitenstein, one of the three finalists this year for the Walter Payton Award.
I'll tell you what, I think he's going to have a hard time beating Taylor Heinicke on that one. He has had a great year. Again, setting the career passing or total offense record with 791 yards in that New Hampshire game earlier. That's my pick for you, Ward. If it means anything.
You get one?
not yet.
All right. 5:25 to go, and they keep it on the ground. Breitenstein hit at the line of scrimmage. Forward progress probably gives him a half a yard, maybe.
I'll tell you what, defensively for New Hampshire, one guy we haven't called a lot is Alan Busby, number 54. He's that other linebacker who's a real dynamic playmaking guy. I haven't called his name much. I'd like to see him get more involved in this game because they need his presence up the middle.
Yeah, when you have Matt Evans with 449 career tackles, and they say Busby is the defensive leader, that's quite the compliment. He sets the defense for these Wildcats. So let's give Breitenstein another yard, maybe it's 2nd and 9. And Breitenstein is off to the races again, up over the 45, dropped at the 48-yard line.
And I'm just shaking my head right now because at the offset of that play, it looked like that was stopped for no gain, and he just finds a way to squirt through right there. Good misdirection right there. You see Matt Evans overflows to the right, and again, just a great vision by Breitenstein right there. Just sees those linebackers over pursued just a little bit, cuts it back across the grain for a nice big yardage gain right there.
Another first down for the Terriers. Inside 4.5 minutes now here in the first half. Here's the pitch, and they go wide. Nosek, and Nosek gets run out of bounds just inside New Hampshire territory.
And Mike, it really hasn't been on the perimeter of the field that Wofford's really done a lot of damage. And we were talking to head coach Mike Ayers yesterday. He thought that the perimeter was where they were going to have a lot of success, you know, especially with those linebackers, Busby Evans being in the middle. But on the contrary, it's been up the middle, those A-gap runs that have really punished this New Hampshire defense.
If it's 7-0 at halftime, I don't want to talk about moral victories, but is that a victory for New Hampshire against this defense right now, or this offense?
I think you could call it that. Again, you don't want to go against a team that controls the football like Wofford does. You don't want to go down 2 scores. So I think if they can get this game in the latter stages, I think that would be somewhat of a moral victory for them.
Breitenstein gets the call, not too much running room. Matt Evans was there to meet him, along with Shane McNeely, a sophomore from Whitehall, Pennsylvania.
Wofford already with 215 yards rushing on the day. And that's their MO.
Most carries they had this year in a single game was 69, where they piled up 590 yards on the ground against Western Carolina. Lawson will pitch. Breitenstein will pick up the first down inside the 40-yard line, all the way down to about the 36.
And again, if you're facing a triple option, it's assignment football. Someone's got to be on the dive, someone on the quarterback, someone on the pitch. And right there in that play, no one had Eric Breitenstein on the pitch. And that was when they enabled him to get that big, long gain right there and pick up the first down.
Breitenstein came in with 1,653 yards, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. And I think it's safe to say he'll probably go over 200 here this afternoon. Johnson gets the call. You know, you talk about Breitenstein, but Johnson last year had 967 yards, so he was 33 from 1,000, and of course Breitenstein went over 1,000 himself.
Yeah, and Donovan Johnson, he actually leads in yards per carry. He has 8 yards per carry coming into this football game. So again, a lot of these rushers getting the job done.
The stable of backs for the last 3 years, at least one game they've had 3 100-yard rushers for the Terriers. 2:20, clock is running. Lawson, near side, Reeves keeps it, and he's going to be stopped shy of the 30-yard line.
That was a great job right there by Manny Asom. Right there, he kind of slow played that quarterback a little bit, making him think he was going to go on the pitch. The quarterback kept the ball. He was still right there, had good body position, kept his shoulders and body square to the line of scrimmage, and able to bring the quarterback down. Great play.
Yeah, Sam, number 2 tacklers with 64 coming into the ball game, but I guess with Evans 115, you know, number 52 is going to be around the football.
Yeah,
most of the time.
It's hard to pick up tackles on this New Hampshire defense.
Breitenstein right up the middle. And looks like he's going to pick up another first down for the Terriers. Yep, they're moving the chains. They've got a minute 32. They stopped the clock to move the chains, but the Terriers trying to punch in one more touchdown before halftime. There's a man down.
I'm sure they're just another run up the middle right there. They pulled the left guard. Got some positive yards. It looks like it was Manny Asom who's down on the field right now. Hopefully for New Hampshire, he is okay because, again, he's played a big-time presence in this game already, and they need him. We already talked about he was the second leading tackler coming into this football game.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, too, that John Lyons, the defensive coordinator, saying that Manny Asom has to make an impact. He has to have a big game.
He really does. Again, it just can't be the linebackers. Can't be Matt Evans just having come out of the game with 15 tackles. When you're facing a triple option, a lot of guys, secondary players, got to be a presence in that run game.
So Sam comes in from the left side of your screen. He's number 4.
And we'll see right there. I don't know if he got either got a quad injury or a hip or something like that versus the pulling guard. Looked like it was T.J. White, 61 right there. May have clipped him a little bit in the hip or something. But it didn't look like it was a knee or an ankle or anything, did it, Mike? It looked like it was maybe just some sort of a
looks like
hip
he's holding his arm like a wrist or an elbow.
Yeah, it's really hard to see what exactly happened right there. Made it, again, maybe just the helmet of T.J. White either clipped him in the hip or in the hand or something. But it looks like he'll be okay.
So Sam leaves the field. His backup is Tim Pike. They go with that 4-2-5 defense. Option. Top of your screen, Yeoman gets the call. And Yeoman's inside the 15-yard line, the senior. Yeoman just off the injury list and back on the field.
He really was. And I'll tell you who made that play right there. It was number 39, Brad Nosek. He got out. He does a great job as a blocker.
Goal. First down.
We'll see right there. Flips the ball right there, but we'll see right there with you see him just out of your screen right there. Nosek with a great block. And then right at the end there, we'll see the penalty. Looks like it may have been a horse collar penalty right there. Yep. We'll see right there Evans with the horse collar tackle.
10th play of the drive coming up, Rocky, right here with a minute 17 to go before halftime. Lawson works out of the gun. Breitenstein has his 64th rushing touchdown of his career.
And Mike, I don't know if he was even touched on that play. It was, again, just some of that misdirection type things with the quarterback and the pitch. But, again, it was Breitenstein up the middle. Goes right in for the easy touchdown.
You played big-time linebacker. You got a Super Bowl ring. I mean, how do you read that? Breitenstein's the big ball carrier. You got to figure he's going to have the ball more times than not, at least.
You do. And my philosophy at this time is, you know what? We're going to let someone on this team other than Eric Breitenstein beat us. You can't just let him run up the middle. Again, it's just such a horrible feeling when you're getting the ball run up the middle on you. And if I'm the defensive captain, if I'm Matt Evans, if I'm Alan Busby out there, I'm saying, look, someone is going to beat us on this football team, and it's not going to be Eric Breitenstein there.
Well, Redfern's PAT hits the uprights as Breitenstein gets into the end zone again.
Untouched. Unbelievable.
18 times he's done that this year now, and 64 times in his career, one more. And he will tie Armani Edwards of Appalachian State, who's now a member of the Carolina Panthers.
And you can see already today he's having 16 rushes, 169 yards. That's his second touchdown, getting his 31st career 100-yard game. And you talked about trying to get that moral victory for New Hampshire. What's not going to happen? They just got an 11-play drive, took up a lot of clock, and now it looks like they probably, unless they put something together, are going to go down into halftime down 14.
Let's check in with Rontino.
Well, we've seen a lot from Eric Breitenstein, and Wofford has had their eye on him for many years. How about this? He grew up just outside of Boone, North Carolina. His brother played for Appy State. His grandfather was actually an interim coach there. So you would think it'd be a gimme in Boone, but not so. He wanted to walk on at Clemson or South Carolina, but then opted for the scholarship by the school that courted him the most consistently throughout high school, and that is Wofford, of course. He's doing pretty well here. Everything works out for the best. 125 yards against South Carolina a couple weeks ago. Graduates in 2 weeks, guys.
Well, that's interesting, huh? Appalachian State with all the success they had, too. I guess you want to make your own mark in the world, so you got to give them credit for that. Scaretti is up to the 20-yard line. And a good open field tackle that time by Wofford. And that was Nick Crocker, a redshirt freshman from right here in Spartanburg.
It was a great play, but yeah, I think you're right when you're talking about Eric Breitenstein. I think he just wanted to make his own legacy, and he sure is doing it here at Wofford. And I think that's so important. I tell high school kids, high school players, what college should I go to? Go to the place that is just in love with you the most. And I think if you follow that philosophy like Eric Breitenstein did, I think it always usually works out for the best.
I thought Lloyd Carr in Michigan was in love
they
with
like
you.
me. They like me pretty good, but not enough.
Okay, all right.
Those gold helmets for Notre Dame love me a little better.
What were you against Michigan? What were you at Notre Dame?
What's that?
What was your record against Michigan at Notre Dame?
We actually played in my freshman year and lost, beat them my freshman year.
Well, Goldrich showing some athleticism. Should have been another sack. Wofford already has 4 of those, and Goldrich finally gets rid of the football. Sean McDonald, former New Hampshire graduate.
Again, they just rushed 4 right there, and again, just the pressure in his face, and just credit Goldrich for finding somehow, some way to not get the sack, or even worse, a safety right there on this play heading into halftime.
Inside a minute now, just 58 seconds to go before halftime. 4 wideouts for Goldrich. Fires top side, looking for Harris, and he underthrew him at the 30-yard line. Would have been a first down if he pulled it in.
Yeah, and Goldridge has got to find a way to put that ball in. He was wide open right there. R.J. Harris would have caught that ball and got out of bounds, but instead now you're looking at 3rd and 10.
We mentioned some big names at New Hampshire. We mentioned Harris going over 1,000. How about David Ball? He had 3 1,000-yard seasons when he played for New Hampshire.
He was a great player.
Of course, Ricky Santos, his quarterback, won the Walter Payton there. Goldrich right down the middle. This one's complete, and it's good for a first down as Joey Orlando has another catch.
Joey Orlando, the coaches talked about yesterday, probably the best hands on the team, real student of the game. He's been the best receiver for New Hampshire so far this year.
Working quickly now. Goldrich goes down the middle. This one's picked off. Mike Nyam has his first INT.
And Goldrich never saw him right there again. They tried the 4 vertical routes, the seam route right there. He's trying to hit Ciccone going down the middle of the field. But just a nice job by Nyam right there. And again, Goldrich didn't even see him. Didn't even see him. Boom, jumps up right there. Just a great play, great vision right there by Nyam. We'll talk about how the kind of career Mike Nyam has had. This guy, give him a lot of credit. He's had 2 ACL injuries since he's been here at Wofford. He's always found a way to come back, and just a great story, great heart and determination on that kid.
Lawson puts it up, and he had his man, but it's dropped as Cam Flowers almost had his first catch.
Yeah, and that was I love the call right there, trying to go into halftime rather than just trying to rush it out there. Try to go for the big play, and that's the thing with Wofford. They throw in just enough passes where you got to keep you honest a little bit, and they almost had a big one right there.
Yeah, you mentioned Nyam. I mean, he missed 4 games this year and still made the second-team All-Conference. So a lot of respect around the league. Lawson goes upstairs, has his man inside the 35-yard line. And that one was complete to Jeff Ashley, who has his 15th catch this year.
Yeah, he's the leading receiver, if you want to call it that, with only 15 receptions on the year. But a nice job. He ran the defender up the field, stuck his left foot in the ground, and came back on that square and with a nice gain.
Casey Redfern, their kicker, he's only 4 for 6 this year because they score so many touchdowns, but he does have a long of 53. So Lawson and company trying to get him in field goal range, possibly here with 22 seconds to go. Of course, you want to give it to number 7. Maybe he'll break one.
I'm sure that is a big-time consideration in the game plan right now. No question.
Well, Lawson's getting a chance to throw the football, but decides to run it instead. He's out of bounds with 15 seconds. Clock really should have stopped at 16 seconds, but they have 15 on the clock.
That was a good job by him, but at least getting out of bounds right there. Had to tuck it and run it, but at least got to that left sideline, got out of bounds. Stopping the clock with 15 seconds. I think they got time for maybe, I got to get what's 3rd down and 5 right now. They may just try to pick this thing up. Send the field goal unit out.
Keep it on the ground. Johnson trying to break it to the outside. He's pushed out of bounds. Helmet comes off with 7 seconds to go. He's at the 21-yard line.
How about the effort right there by Donovan Johnson? Breaking tackles, relentless to try to get to the sideline and stop that clock. What a great football play by that young man right there.
So this would be a 38-yard kick if he gets it all.
1 tackle, 2 tackles, 3. Puts his left hand on the ground, staying up. He even still got the first down and got out of bounds. Great play.
First down, but there's only 7 seconds to remain on the clock, and the offense stays on the field. Breitenstein behind the quarterback, gets the call inside the 20. Keeps those legs churning down to about the 16-yard line. And there's 2 seconds to remain on the clock, and now here comes the kicking team.
Yeah, they used their last timeout right there. That was great maneuvering right there by that offense. Put together a little bit of a drive. Good clock management. They call a timeout with 2 seconds. They'll bring the kicker on here. Try to add 3 more before they head into halftime.
So Casey Redfern, a junior from Jamestown, North Carolina, 4 for 6 in field goals this year, will come on and try to make this a 17-0 game at halftime. Well, you go back to 2000. Wofford is 18-1 against non-conference competition. Only lost game against Coastal Carolina back in 2006. Trying to make it 19-1 here this afternoon, then take on the winner of that South Dakota State game. They'll kick that one off at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Mike Ayers, the 4-time Southern Conference Coach of the Year. Wofford, they've had some close calls. So we talked about that 7-7 tie with South Carolina this year, but some of those numbers kind of tell the story.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, if you're a rushing football team, you're always right in that game. They control the clock well, and if they can get it down in the last part of that game, they like their chances.
So last year, the Clemson game, 35-27. They led that game in the third quarter against Clemson. Mentioned 7-7 against South Carolina. Of course, they lost that game as they turned it over 3 times, 3 fumbles.
Yeah, they were in that game until the fourth quarter, but the turnovers came up and bit them. They may have come out with that game.
Ball spotted at the 24. It's a 34-yard field goal, and he missed it.
Yeah, it looks like it went wide right on him.
So Redford 0 for 3 from that distance this year. And ironically, he's 2 for 2 from 40 to 49. It's going to be the final play, 13-0 as you check out the numbers, Rocky. 297 total yards for Wofford.
Some teams would love to have that for the entire game. They have 275 on the ground just at halftime. Have really been getting it done, and again, it's been up the middle. I'll tell you what, New Hampshire's going in at halftime right now, and John Lyons, the defensive coordinator for New Hampshire, has got to say, look, guys, we've got to stop the up-the-middle run.
Let's go downstairs and check in with Rontina.
All right, thanks, guys. I was just talking to Coach Ayers off camera about Brian Cass and his status, and you said he might come in the second half, but you guys are moving the ball, so.
Yeah, Brian's ready to go. We started with James, and he's been doing a good job, and we've just kind of kept him in there. We've had opportunities for a lot more points, and we've wasted way too many opportunities. We've got to get better at finishing, quite frankly. And this team is an unbelievable football team. They can throw it all over the lot. Again, defensively, we're playing an unbelievable game. We need another great half out of the defense, and then offensively, we need to take care of the ball.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, Rontina. Halftime here at Gibbs Stadium. Score, it's 13-0 Wofford on top. The BCS season's wrapping up. When we return, BCS Countdown gets you ready for this year's College Football Awards, and then takes a look at last week's top 5 plays. Halftime, around the corner. Spartanburg, Eric Breitenstein has had plenty of room. 173 yards rushing, 13-0 Wofford on top of New Hampshire. Mike Gleason along with Rocky Boyman, the former Notre Dame and Super Bowl champion linebacker. And, you know, of course, Breitenstein stole the spotlight. But New Hampshire, they've moved the chains at some, but they keep turning the football over. If they don't do that, they're in this football game.
No, you're absolutely right. They've turned the ball over 3 times, and that's kind of been the difference. And again, Mike Ayers talked about it going out of halftime there, kind of giving up more opportunities. They could have even more points on the board. So New Hampshire's definitely in this football game. They got to get that offense going and capitalize here in the second half.
And as we take a look at the first half highlights, no surprise, number 7 gets the call on 4th down yet.
Well, yeah, exactly. On 4th down, he scampers 58 yards for his touchdown. They got them on the board first, and he has had a lot of success up the middle. We talked about him before the game. He's definitely had an impact. But talk about impact, these corners right here, Wiley right there with a big-time play, and then the Crimin with the big sack right there, 4 sacks, and then right there, Wofford's put the ball on the ground some as well, too. New Hampshire coming up with the ball right there, but then E.J. Speller with the triple play, sack, strip, fumble, got the ball on top, gave it back to his offense, and they definitely took advantage of it.
What stands out to you more than, let's say, maybe the 4 sacks?
I'll tell you, the time of possession right there, you look, it's over 4 minutes in favor of Wofford, so they've definitely gone, which is their MO, which is control the clock with the running game. They've definitely done that. But talk about the defense for Wofford. Look at the 4 sacks right there. New Hampshire on defensively come with a couple strips. Matt Evans has had a couple big plays, but again, they got to find a way to stop that run up the middle. Alan Busby, some of those guys got to step up and be a big part of stopping that Wofford rushing attack.
And of course, the Terriers are +1 in the turnovers, and both coaches said turnovers will be a key. And Wofford's up by 13 as we check in with Rontina.
And on that same theme, I just now talked to the Wildcats head coach, Sean McDonald. He says they need to hold on to that football, and when they get it, they need to establish the run. That is what's missing in their game right now. They're getting pushed around, need to be tougher up front on their offensive line, do a better job on defense as well, and tackle. So he's not happy that it's only 13-0. They've held them. He says that they're getting ran all over.
And Wofford up by 13 will get the football first here in the second half. And, well, they're going to run the football, of course, Rocky. But you look at some of the shadows down there as we look down on Gibbs Stadium. It's going to be tough for some of the receivers to see the football if they're going right to left.
No, you're absolutely right. But I don't see Wofford abandoning the run game at all, especially now with the lead. That's what they do is run the ball. I think we're going to see a lot more running out of these Wofford Terriers.
That sun is bright, and New Hampshire, of course, will be going right to left as they open up the third quarter, but Wofford gets ready to receive the kick. Mike MacArthur is ready to kick off the second half. The winner goes on to the quarterfinals. Wofford up by 13. And it's taken at the 10-yard line by Ray Smith. The penalty flag dropped all over the field.
It's a flag, and usually that area of the field means a holder blocking the back.
Illegal block in the back.
Yep.
Number 10, half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's Quay Bell, the 6'1 sophomore from Miami, Florida, guilty of that infraction. And again, Rocky, you talk about disciplined football.
First down.
You look at this Wofford football team as far as penalties, though. 4.7 penalties, less than 5 penalties a game. That's pretty impressive.
No, it really is, and that's the old adage. Tony Dungy, when I played for him, always talked about that. Teams that don't beat themselves most often win, and that's one thing Wofford really does a good job of, taking care of the football and protecting on offense.
Well, Breitenstein, 173 yards. We mentioned in the first half as high as 321. He's had a couple of 200-yard games.
And I'm interested to see right now what New Hampshire does, what they talk about at halftime to try to stop this rushing attack up front in the middle.
Well, Breitenstein gets the first call, and New Hampshire was waiting for him. He just hits the line of scrimmage, maybe picks up a half a yard. You see number 54, Alan Busby. You said we should mention his name. Well, there it is, Alan Busby.
And I'm sure John Lyons, the defensive coordinator, got all over him at halftime and said, look, young man, step up and start making some plays right there. But already I see a little bit of an adjustment by New Hampshire. They got the safety, Keith Parkinson, number 33, is in that box. You see him at the bottom part of your screen on the second level. He's got to be a big factor in stopping this run up the middle.
Lawson pitches. Nosek. He's got some running room up over the 20, all the way up to the 25-yard line. And it's a good thing number 46 was there again. Knudsen, Hayden Knudsen, the true freshman, makes another tackle.
And again, nothing we haven't really seen. The fake up the middle, then the pitch right there, and just a great block right there by the wide receiver, allowing Nosek to get a few more extra yards.
Cefalo, I stand corrected. That was Nick Cefalo. My apologies. The sophomore from Basking Ridge, New Jersey, made that tackle. But the Terriers get yet another first down. Johnson in motion. Option far side. Lawson keeps it over the 30 up to about the 33, 34-yard line.
And there was a Sam again with a nice job stretching, feathering that play out there a little bit, and coming back and tackling the quarterback.
Lawson, the sophomore from Pickens, South Carolina, going the distance. As Rontina told us, Brian Cass, the usual starter at quarterback, has yet to play. And Michael Weimer, who you spoke of, the redshirt freshman out of South Carolina, yet to play as well. And after this play, we'll talk more about that freshman Weimer when he plays quarterback. You mentioned he broke off a big one this year. You go back to the Western Carolina game. Weimer, when he got to play, first offensive series, he broke off a 54-yard touchdown. Then the third series, he broke off a 73-yard touchdown. Wound up with 141 yards at quarterback on 6 carries.
Yeah, but he injured his knee a little bit in the last game they played versus South Carolina. But it looks like that extra week off was a blessing for him, and he was able to get that thing healthy because he looks pretty good here today.
Third down and short. 5 for 8 third down conversions so far for the Terriers. They started 1 for 4. There's some movement. Wofford's pointing at New Hampshire. New Hampshire's pointing the other way.
False start, number 85, offense, 5 yards, third down.
That's Michael Harp, the junior tight end from Spartanburg. Guilty of some movement, so they move back instead of third and short. Now it's More like 3rd and 6.
In New Hampshire, they finally got a break right here. They need to take advantages and keep them back. Don't get in a 4th and short situation. Don't want to get in 4th and 1 because even in this area of the field, you never know. Wofford may go for it.
So 26 yards already for Wofford. And penalties on 3 penalties. Here comes Lawson with the pitch. Whoa, the fumbles on the carpet. And this is going to be a defensive touchdown. And Cody Muller, the junior from Telford, Pennsylvania.
And Mike, I'll tell you what, it was Alan Busby, the guy, I called him out, flat called him out on the air right here, and somebody must have heard because he just came up with a big-time play right there. Came up from his linebacker spot and stripped it. Watch him right here. You see number 54. Boom, big-time, perfect textbook tackle. Got his face mask on that football. New Hampshire picks up, goes in for the touchdown. And what I say before, they needed a game-changing type play, and they sure got it right there. They are definitely back in this football game. Wow.
On the board, on for the extra point, Mike MacArthur, the junior from Northampton, New Jersey. Well, he kicked that pretty confidently, and I say that because he's very lethal on field goals, not so lethal on extra points as we take another look.
This is just great linebacker play right there. As a linebacker, you're defined not by the tackles you make 5 yards down the field, it's the ones you make behind the line of scrimmage, and there's none bigger than a play like that. We'll see again, just tracks that football. Look at it, puts that helmet, perfect tackle, textbook tackle. And then with his player right there, his teammate picking that ball up, rushing in for the touchdown, Cody Muller. Great play, and that is exactly what Sean McDonald, I'm sure, talked about at halftime. Guys, we are in this game. We just need somebody to step up and make a big-time play, and, man, they sure got it.
Well, whatever the message was, they listened at halftime as we take a look at the season recap. New Hampshire out of the CAA, or the Colonial Athletic Association. Old Dominion actually won the conference championship. And these guys finished 6-2.
And the biggest stat right there we see at the bottom is red zone scoring, 3rd in the FCS, 94%. But they haven't been in the red zone at all today so far. But when you're getting big-time scoop score touchdowns from your defense, who needs it?
Smith at the 11-yard line this time for Wofford. And he's hit, and hit hard. He's smothered at about the 17.
And, Mike, it always takes one big play for your team to start playing more inspired football. And I saw that right there by New Hampshire. They came out, they were flying down that field in that kickoff, and just a great coverage play by that special teams unit.
So you look at the fumbles right now as Wofford lost 3 fumbles, and now we're even on the turnover departments. Wofford gets possession with the lead, 13-7 now. And they want to come out throwing, and it's complete. He was 3 for 5 throwing the football. That's Ashley again, as you mentioned, the leading receiver on the team. Pulls it in.
Yeah, and this is just a quick option play. They saw the corner Houston playing off right there, but credit Houston was sticking his foot in the ground and come up and making a great open field tackle. Anytime that quarterback sees that defender, that corner playing 8-10 yards off the ball, he's going to throw it. A corner has got to be able to tackle when you play off like that. Great play.
Wofford 5-0 at home this year, but we'll see if Big Mo shifts over to New Hampshire now. As the Terriers keep it on the ground. A lot of white jerseys around the football. They're playing with a lot more confidence against that option.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And again, I just think they're a little bit energized again by that big play by Busby and Muller on the series before, and that's exactly what they need. See them right now waving their hands to their fans, trying to get this crowd in the game. See the long hair by Busby right there looking like Clay Matthews. He's making plays like Clay Matthews out there.
Well, they need to stop now on 3rd down if they can force a punt and get the football back. Lawson keeps it up over the 25. Had to get to about the 28-yard line for the first down. And depends on the spot. He's going to be shy by about a yard, yard and a half.
Yeah, Knudsen, the safety right there, came up and put a face mask on that run on the quarterback right there, and I think stopped it.
Well, they gave a good spot.
Yeah.
Give him the first down.
That's a questionable spot, Mike. Don't you think? It looked like he was definitely shy of that first down.
Yeah, I thought for sure that he came up short. But a brand new set of downs for the Terriers now is 10:44. Very quick first half with Wofford running the football so often. Breitenstein right up the middle. Breitenstein inside the 30-yard line. You know he's coming. You know he's coming right up the middle, but you can't stop him.
Exactly. And again, how frustrating is that? You know he's going to be running that ball in those A-gaps right there. And they shifted the defensive line at the last second right there. But through that offensive line, look at that hole right there. You could drive a truck through it. And Eric Breitenstein hits the truck, and he took advantage of that big hole his offensive line opened up right there. And again, New Hampshire is starting to get some momentum, starting to get back in this football game. What happens? Eric Breitenstein does what he's done all year with a big-time run.
He had the 52-yard touchdown in the first half. He scored twice. He went 45 on that one. And remember, he had 173 in the first half, and he gets the call again. And there he goes! Touchdown, Breitenstein, number 3 on the day.
Again, just deceptively fast up the hole, breaks a few tackles, and punches in the end zone. I mean, how many times can we say it? It's just, you know it's coming, and you can do nothing to stop it. Terrible feeling right now, and New Hampshire has got to be shaking their heads. They've got their hands on their hips out there. They're wondering what the heck just happened, because they were in this football game with that play.
That's his 65th career touchdown, on for the extra points. Redfern missed the last one, but he's good this time. Well, Rocky, 246 now for number 7.
Yeah, he's been their story all day. You saw it got a big-time pull right there by Tamika Gregory, the guard, and then it's just Breitenstein the rest of the way. Another touchdown for number 7.
(20-7) now is Eric Breitenstein. Breitenstein's gone from 5th to 3rd now, all time in Southern Conference.
Well, I'll tell you what, he has just gotten it done on the ground. This was the first half touchdown run on the opening series of the game. And it's been all number 7 up the middle, and right there we'll see this is another big-time run right here. He takes up the middle for another long gain, and then just a touchdown, getting some great blocks by his offensive line. They have really done the job for him here today. 3 touchdowns, 246 yards.
For more on the star running back, let's check in with Montino.
Guys, this is the 3rd straight playoff appearance for the Terriers. 5 of the last 6 seasons, they've made it to the postseason. But Eric Breitenstein says that that's not enough anymore at Wofford. The standard is making the playoffs. They want to go deeper. They still have all their goals at the beginning of the season intact. They got a piece of the Southern Conference title. They're in the playoffs, and then they want to end their season in Frisco. Their coach says the seniors play consistent and disciplined enough with enough will and passion that could happen.
Yeah, Breitenstein, he'll be there because he's a finalist for the Walter Payton, but he wants to bring his whole team there.
He wants to bring the whole team, exactly. Just an unselfish guy, a guy that, you know, it's always hard to get something out of him. He never wants to talk about himself, but again, just one of those guys, if you had a daughter, you'd want him to go out with a guy like Eric Breitenstein, just a good young fellow.
Breitenstein, as I clarify, he's gone from 5th to 3rd. His 65 rushing touchdowns ties Armani Edwards, 3rd now in Southern Conference history. Scaridi takes it at the 11-yard line. And Scaridi trying to get past the 20 to no avail. He's swarmed on by a bunch of black jerseys. And that's where the Wildcats will start. We're inside Gibbs Stadium, Spartanburg, South Carolina. the home of the Wofford Terriers. They're 18-1 since 2000 against non-conference competition. Right now they lead at 20-7. Mike Gleason along with Rocky Boyman and Rontina McCann. Great to have you with us as the winner moves on to the quarterfinals in this championship race.
Looks like they're going to stick with Goldrich here at quarterback.
And they keep it on the ground and up to about the 22-yard line. With number 90 making the stop again as you take a look at the total yardage now as Wofford moves up to 388.
Yeah, and it's tough to win if you're giving up 388 yards to a team with just over into the third quarter here. They got to find a way to stop them better, but they're coming up with the big play, and now they need the offense to finally put something together. Haven't been able to get much going here today so far.
Inside 10 minutes, quarter number 3 here from Spartanburg as Goldrich fires it out in the flats and is setting it. Another nice open field tackle that time by Wofford. That's Kendall Bratcher.
I think he would have had a little bit better chance right there if his wide receiver, Justin Mello, had blocked the right guy. But again, Bratcher right there came up with a nice play. Good open field tackle. You've got to love a cornerback that can tackle in the open field.
Third down play now for the Wildcats. Third and about 7 yards to go.
There we go, third and long. Those guys are pinning their ears back. Here they come.
5 wideouts, but Goldrich, that was a play from the get-go, is going to pick up the first down.
You know what? I really like that call right there. Again, it's third and long. Those guys are trying to get upfield, use their speed to their advantage. Watch, they get too far upfield, and the offensive line just kind of wash them by, and Goldrich just a nice job, great decision, tucking it and running.
Up-tempo offense now, too, as they keep it on the ground. Setian, the junior from East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, hits a lot of resistance at the line of scrimmage.
Josh Roseborough, number 90, he is providing that resistance. He has had a tough, great game here so far, controlling that line of scrimmage. One guy for Wofford we haven't talked a lot about is Tarek Odom. He's a big-time dynamic playmaker, number 99. We'll see if he gets involved in this game here.
Harris with the end around up over the 40-yard line. And had to get to the 44, or just shy of the 44 for the first down.
A good job by Harris getting to the corner. Yeah, there's Tarek Odom again. He's a 600-pound squat guy. My great lower body, only 5'10", but he uses that leverage to his advantage. He has 4.5 sacks on the year, 6.5 tackles for loss. He reminds me a lot of Dwight Freeney, who's also a short guy, but tremendous body control, gets low, and gets underneath the pads of those tall offensive linemen.
Well, Florida State was looking at him as a fullback, but once he got on campus here, he just loved it here in Spartanburg on this Wofford campus. Third down and short. Little dancing, and depending on the spots, good penetration by that Wofford defense.
There's Mike McCrimmon right there, number 57, did a great job attacking the line of scrimmage right there, and it's going to be close. We'll see what the spot is.
You just mentioned Roseborough. Now Josh Roseborough's down on the field for the Terriers. Roseborough, a senior, Speller only a redshirt freshman, and Odom only a sophomore on that defensive front.
Yeah, they got some big bodies up there, I'll tell you what. E.J. Speller's had a big game so far. He had that sack strip, fumble recovery. Roseborough's made a lot of plays. Hopefully that young man's all right. Looks like they're working on the right leg, maybe an ankle or a calf or something.
South Carolina, number 1 in the Southern Conference against the Rush. Number 1 in scoring. As we take another look at the injury.
Yeah, we'll try to see what happened right there. He does a great job. He just got a little bit low right there, and you wonder if the foot or something maybe just kind of got underneath him and hurt an ankle or an Achilles or something like that. Just kind of got a little bit too low on that play. Lost his leverage, legs a little bit too wide.
Got the job done, though, as McCrimmon came up to make the stop. He plugged that hole. But it's going to be a costly loss as Roseborough, 8.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks coming into this game. So you see those are national numbers there, but in the Southern Conference, just 17.7 scoring. That's number 1 in the Southern Conference. And number 1 against the Rush, and Sturridge Hasn't really had a chance to break one. The coaching staff saying when this guy can, he can take off.
Yeah, he really can, but he hasn't really found a way to get to that second level where he can utilize that speed and that quickness. Again, credit this Wofford defensive line. That was Mike Nyam right there with a good tackle.
Bayless, the sophomore quarterback, back on the field now, replacing Sean Goldrich. Empty backfield. Sturridge in motion, but Bayless wants to run it. Boy, look at that tackle. Huh? Another open field tackle. Again, it's Stephon Shelton, the cornerback. We've seen about 4 or 5 great open field tackles here.
And as a former defender, there's nothing I hate worse than a cornerback that doesn't like contact, doesn't like to be forcing the run, but these guys are not those type of corners. Shelton right there comes up in the run game, aggressive, stops a big play before something got started right there. They pulled a couple offensive linemen, may have had something going there if not for Shelton.
You know, Rocky, New Hampshire, they average about 33 passes, so these guys are reading their keys, doing a great job.
They really are. They're reading their keys and doing a good job, but looks like another Wofford defender injured on the play right there.
We're going to take a timeout as New Hampshire faces a 3rd and 7 when we come back. Inside 7 minutes, the Terriers on top 20-7 over the Wildcats. Wofford losing 2 of their star defensive players up front on the same series.
Yeah, in 3 plays, they've lost 2 of their best up front guys, Rosenborough earlier and then Tarek Odom right there. And it's going to be guys like that. Zach Murphy going to have to step up big without their 2 best defensive ends in the football game. And there's the other one, Leverett Diggs. He's going to have to come up big as well.
Murray, a junior out of Avon Lake, Ohio. Diggs out of Pittsburgh, also a junior. And there's some good penetration as McCrimmon gets in there in a hurry. That's 5 sacks now for these guys.
That looked like the exact play he had a sack on earlier in the first half. Again, usually they rush 4. This time they rush 5, and no one picks up Mike McCrimmon. So that's either on the quarterback, he's got to get that ball out of his hand, or someone, a running back, Seti and Suridi's got to find a way to pick him up.
5 sacks for Wofford. It's going to give him 25 now on the season as Brad Prasky, the sophomore, is on the punt at about the 25-yard line. Gets it off. It's a short one. Nosek stays away from it, and it goes out of bounds. So Wofford will have a decent field position when we come back. Inside 6 minutes, 20-7, Terriers. Remember, the winner moves on. Loser goes home.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NCAA for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any picture, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NCAA's consent is prohibited.
20-7, Wofford on top of New Hampshire as we check in with Rontina. We're update on that injury.
Actually, 2 injuries. Defensive linemen getting their right ankles retaped. Josh Roseborough and Tarek Odom both have the same thing going on. They're going to retape the ankles, let them walk around on it, and the trainer says that they probably will be able to go back in.
See Roseborough right behind Rontina.
She almost took you out there, Rontina.
Looks like he's moving okay. Maybe not 100%, but he obviously wants to get back in as we take a look at that Wofford defense.
They have really put on a show here today. They've been the story in this football game, them and obviously Eric Breitenstein.
James Lawson has gone the distance so far at quarterback for the Terriers. But now Brian Cass gets his first play at quarterback as the redshirt junior from Raleigh. The usual starter is dinged up, and now he's running things for the Terriers.
Yeah, we didn't really think, as Mike Ayers talked about at halftime, didn't think we were going to see much of him, but here we see him. Maybe they just want to get him some reps and make sure he's ready if they do, in fact, advance into the next round.
Comes in with 103 carries on the year. He's only thrown it 43 times throughout the season. It's 18 of 43 for 345, 6 touchdowns. He has 5 rushing, but only 42% throwing the football. But he can run, and there he goes. Finally knocked out of bounds by Manny Assam. But Brian Cass has the big gainer for the Terriers, and they're threatening once again.
Yeah, they are. Well, they finally did a good job of tackling the dive right there, but unfortunately, this is what happens when you face a triple option. Look how hard that is. He looks like he rode that thing down there really good, very deceptive, and took off on a long run. Looks like he may have been dinged up a little bit on his right arm. Looks like he's going to come back out of the game right now.
And Lawson goes back in. At least Cass not only gets to wear the uniform, but gets to break a sweat, and he picks up 33 on that play. This is Johnson. Johnson's down near the 17-yard line.
Yeah, and I think it's important they get Donovan Johnson going because, look, if they want to advance into the second, third, and fourth round of these playoffs here, they're going to need both these running backs. And we talked about Donovan Johnson, 8 yards per carry coming into this game. He can get it done. It's important to get him going as well.
Remember, New Hampshire in that last loss to Towson, it was 30-28. At halftime, they trailed by 2, and they got blown out in the second half. And now Wofford, if they score here, as New Hampshire comes up with a nice defensive play. Cody Muller making the initial contact and the tackle there for the Wildcats on Cam Flowers, another redshirt freshman. This Wofford team, as successful as they are, they've got a lot of young players.
They do, and it's important to have depth, especially in the playoffs. How many times have we seen at every level teams get in the playoffs and their starter goes down, they don't have an answer. Got to have a lot of guys with experience if you want to go far in the playoffs.
Third down play now for the Terriers, right up the middle, and they'll be facing a fourth down, but they are in field goal range just outside the 15-yard line.
And you wonder right now, do they, it looks like they are going to go ahead and kick this thing. It's important to get your kicker going, get him some confidence. Obviously, this game is by no means in the bag, but with 20-7, the way they've controlled it, looking pretty good. I like the call right here, go for the field goal.
Paul Inclan, the junior, will spot the ball at the 23, a 33-yard kick for Redfern. And it's good. So they don't get the 7, but they add 3 more on the board inside 3 minutes. So time is definitely not New Hampshire's friend. And now we have a 23-7 game. So again, Mike Ayers trying to get into that quarterfinals. So North Dakota State, South Dakota State will kick it at 4 o'clock in the Fargo Dome. And the winner of this game will meet, I'll take a wild guess and say North Dakota State at this juncture.
Yeah, probably. If South Dakota did upset, though, they got the FCS leader in running, so they'll, the top running back, Zach Zenner, he does a good job running the ball. There'll be a lot of rushing yards in that game. But Georgia Southern, obviously, is a great team in the playoffs. Stony Brook's done a good job here so far as well.
Appalachian State, moments ago, they were down 14-10. Hard to to win in Boone against the Mountaineers, but they trail in that game. And then Eastern Washington Wagner later tonight. 2012 NCAA Division I Championship will continue next weekend. Quarterfinal games. All games will be on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. Inside 3 minutes now, 2:57 to go, 23-7, Wofford on top. This one's taken at the 5-yard line, and it's going to be Harris up over the 25-yard line. Earlier, Rocky, we talked about the great balance for New Hampshire, passing for 237, running for 234. On average, they run it about 40 times a game, throw it 33, but with time not on their side, we're inside 3 minutes. We could see a lot of passing here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more passing, but either way, whether it's running or passing, they got to find a way to get some offense going. Right now, they only have 148 yards of total offense on the day. Compare that, Wofford over 3 times that with 431 yards. They've got to find a way to get some offense going.
Wow, that's a great performance by Wofford. New Hampshire averaging 471. Goldrich sets up a little screen. Scaretti hurdles one, but there's 3 more black jerseys. And number 57, McCrimmon, is having a big game defensively.
Man, these Wofford defenders, they attack now. I mean, the guys are flying around, sticking their head in. If they miss the tackle, that's okay because someone else is coming right up behind right there. I like the aggression right there by Shelton. He shot his gun, missed the tackle, but stopped up the wide receiver just enough, and there was 2 other Wofford defenders right there to bring him down.
Yeah, if it's not number 57, usually number 2, Stefan Shelton, has been around the football all afternoon. Picked up maybe a yard on the play, so it's a 2nd and 9, and this one's Harris. He's up over the 35 for the first down. So that'll stop the clock as they move the chains with 2 minutes and 6 seconds to go in quarter number 3.
And Harris, he's really been the only offense they've had so far here today. Just a nice job finding the spot. It was a zone defense, and credit him for reading that. Sat down right in that zone, picked up a nice game.
Harris again tries the high step, and again another open field tackle.
And who else but Stefan Shelton? Man, I really like this kid. He is explosive out there. No fear coming up, shotting right there through the blocker, trying to get there, pushed him out of the way, and brought down R.J. Harris.
Whoever taught that young man how to read his keys did a good job.
He really did.
Third down and about 10 yards to go. Nowhere to go. Goldrich finally lets go of it. Incomplete. It's going to bring up another punting situation. Or check it. That's only 2nd down. I stand corrected. 3rd down coming up right now, but Goldrich had nowhere to go.
Yeah, had nowhere to go. That was a coverage sack right there. They had everyone covered up, and then you throw in the great pressure right there by Wofford. And just, if nothing else, a good decision by Goldrich, at least to throw that ball away and not take a big sack right there. But how many times have they been in this situation? 3rd and long right now. Now these Wofford defenders, again, are going to be coming after that quarterback. Look for Mike McCrimmon. He's been the guy on this 3rd down plays, blitzing up the middle.
5 wideouts looking for Harris, and there's a little bit of bump, but incidental contact, and now it's going to be 3rd down.
Yeah, McCrimmon didn't blitz right there, but he was on the coverage, did a nice job. Thought he might have got there a little bit early. R.J. Harris thinks he did. He's shaking his head right there as he walks off the field. But not a great throw at all by Goldrich, and a little bit of frustration on the part of New Hampshire right now.
Frustration here, too. I meant to say now it's going to be 4th down. I forgot Harris had picked up that 1st down, but now it's 4th down and still 10 yards to go. Nosek standing at the 20. And Brad Praske, the sophomore, he's punted all afternoon. Usually MacArthur does the punting, and this one goes out of bounds. His last punt was only 20. He came in averaging 44.
Well, if the New Hampshire offense can't get anything going, the defense has got to find a way, like they did earlier, to step up and make a game-changing type play, an interception, a forced fumble, something. Somebody out there has got to make a play. You see head coach Sean McDonald right there. He's an old ball coach now. We enjoyed talking with him yesterday, and he's trying to keep his troops rallied in this football game.
2005 Eddie Robinson National Coach of the Year. Ayers also winning that award. 9 straight NCAA postseason appearances.
Tell you what, a stat that goes against them, though, they are 1 out of their last 10 in December football games. So that's not a stat you want to have in your column right there.
This time it's Johnson up over the 40, and Johnson moves the chains for the first down.
Yeah, Donovan Johnson's more the slasher right there. We see does a good job. But how about this offensive line just getting after these guys right there? We see Calvin Cantrell providing a good block. This offensive line, 4 out of 5 of them are all-conference offensive linemen. They thought the right guard, T.J. White, was a little bit overlooked. He did not get all-conference. He had 135 knockdown blocks this year.
You know, Rocky, you talk about New Hampshire with 9 straight years in the postseason. There's some good penetration. Number 90 coming on the left side.
That was Jared Smith. Now, there's another guy we haven't called his name a lot, and he's one of their best defenders, probably the guy with the biggest NFL next level type potential. 6'3", 292 pounds. He's a leader in tackles for loss, gets his 10th on the season right there, but he's got to be a little bit more of an impact with some more game-changing type plays.
Smith, the Senior Bowl watch list, 1 of 4 from the CAA compared to 71 players from the SEC, so that's quite the honor for Smith. And we played 3 quarters, so we have 15 minutes of football left, 15 minutes, and the victor moves on, and the loser goes home.
Right there, that was the big time, the only big play New Hampshire's had in this football game. They need more of those here in the 4th quarter if they want to get back in this game.
NCAA.com is your online destination for college sports. With comprehensive video highlights and editorial coverage of FCS, Division II and Division III football playoffs, along with soccer, volleyball, cross-country, and field hockey championships across all 3 divisions. NCAA.com has extensive coverage of your favorite schools and your favorite sports this fall. NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
As we head for the 4th quarter, Wofford on top 23-7. And Rocky, I don't know what impresses me more, that Wofford running game or their defense. They're holding a team that averages 470 yards, less than 200.
Yeah, they're about 160 yards of total offense right now, and just that attacking defense by Wofford. I saw them against South Carolina getting after them. The South Carolina's first 2 drives, they had 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and interception. I said, wow, these guys can play defense, and they sure are showing again here today.
You know, Rocky, you go back to the old adage, it's never over till it's over, as Yogi Berra would say. But what do they have to do right now to get back in this game?
I think that it's all about the big play at this point. They cannot find, it can't be a steady moving the ball down the field. They need some quick strike ability. They need that defense right now to step up and stop them and maybe even force another turnover.
Lawson with the pitch near side. Nosik's got some running room, and he's horse-collared at the 45-yard line, so that's going to go against New Hampshire. Now, you mentioned the 9 straight trips to the postseason. New Hampshire, as far as the top 25, they've been to the top 25 for 125 consecutive polls.
Well, here's the play right there. The problem is they had 2 guys on the quarterback right there. Nick Cefalo right there came up with a tackle, but again, they had 2 guys on the quarterback. 1 guy had the pitch. Okay, great, but they need a guy that got to come up a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. And now you throw on 15 yards with the unsportsmanlike conduct, and it's just been a bad news day here for New Hampshire.
You played a lot of football, and I understand the safety factor, but the horse collar, I mean, sometimes you just got to get that guy.
I'll tell you what, it's hard to play defense in football right now, whether college or NFL. It's just those guys are moving fast, and when you start thinking about how you got to tackle someone instead of just tackling them, that's a whole other ball game. It's tough.
So the carry that time goes to Octavius Harden, the redshirt freshman from Conover, North Carolina. So we've seen 4, 5, 6 backs already here for Wofford. And, of course, the big back, number 7, Breitenstein, over 200 yards. Again, 321 is his career. I don't know if they're going to save him now. He hasn't been in on the last couple of possessions.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. I was just looking out there. He hasn't been in a lot, but you want to keep some tread on the tires on him because if they're going to win, they need him in the second and third round of these playoffs.
Harden nowhere to go. He's wrapped up. That's Alan Busby. Knudsen in on the play as well.
Busby hasn't made a ton of plays today, but everyone he's made has been big. That was a great job of running right there, showing his speed, getting to the perimeter on the sideline. They need a guy like him to make some more big plays if they want to get back in this football game.
So the Terriers facing a third down, 3rd and 10 now from the 30-yard line. They lead it in the game 23-7. And there's going to be a
delay game on the offense. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Second time we've seen that. First play of the game, it went against New Hampshire.
Yeah, but this is a little bit more excusable right here, being in the 4th quarter. That when you open up the football game with a scripted play and you take a penalty on that, that's not something you want. But that's one of the few things that Wofford has done wrong today here. They've done a lot of things right.
Wofford had the 13-0 lead at halftime, and then New Hampshire got on the board with a defensive touchdown. But the Terriers just controlling things now, but they're trying to do something about that as number 60, that's Matt Kaplan, breaks through and makes the stop behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was a nice job by Kaplan breaking through that line right there. He has 3 sacks on the year, but that was a great tackle for loss he had on a 3rd down play. It's now 4th down. It looks like they're going to go for it. It's kind of in that in-between range where you don't want to punt it, but it's a little bit too far of a field goal. So I like the call. Saw Jared Smith walking off the field right there. I don't know if he's injured or if it's just that his helmet came off and he's got to sit out a play.
Fourth down and a long way to go. 4th and 15 now at the 35-yard line. Lawson. And he's going down. That's going to go down as a sack. And
yeah, that was Cody Moeller. He had the big touchdown earlier, but now comes up with a big-time 4th down sack right there.
Moeller gets his 4th sack, and now it's up to their offense to get rolling. 12:25 to go to get back in this ball game. Back inside Gibbs Stadium in Spartanburg as we check in with Ron Tuna.
Eric Breitenstein isn't the only one who has a potential in the NFL who's playing in this game. We also have Jared Smith. He is a defensive lineman for New Hampshire, and he is on our Todd McShay's radar. The ESPN draft analyst says that he expects Smith to go as a late-round pick. Also on his who to watch in the playoffs, Stony Brook running back Miguel Masonette, Old Dominion linebacker Craig Wilkins, and a pair of corners as well.
Thanks, Ron Tina. The Southern Conference had 3 players taken in the 2012 NFL draft, the most of any FCS conferences. Appalachian State's Brian Quick went to the Rams. He's averaging about 19 yards a catch.
Playing very well.
8th in tackles for the Saints, and B.J. Coleman is on the Packers practice squad. It's kind of tough to make that squad when they only keep 2 quarterbacks, and one is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you go.
Seretti, a buck over the 45-yard line.
As Josh Roseborough looks like he's back healthy, back in this game with a big-time tackle. One last thing about Jared Smith, he also has 3 block kicks this year. He's a force. Tough guy to block on extra points and field goals.
Second down, Harris gets the call, loses the football. And the reason he lost that football is really number 3, Blake Wiley, the cornerback. The other cornerback busted through, and Harris had to try to juke him or go around him, and he just lost control.
They have really been the story today, haven't they, Mike? Both those corners, Stephon Shelton, Blake Wiley, both of them are very productive here today in the run game. Blake Wiley also getting it done as a pass defender, 6 pass breakups, the leader with 2 interceptions, and they have really been the story of this football game. Again, I love watching aggressive, playing cornerbacks.
So now it's 3rd and about 11 yards to go. Bayless works out of the shotgun, empty backfield. Boy, he's looking down. Coverage was good because he's looking and looking, and his feet were moving, and finally finds his man. Great job of finally getting down to the 40-yard line by completing it to Ciccone, the big tight end.
Yeah, just credit him for keeping that play alive right there, and they brought Mike McCrimmon off the edge right there. Usually they bring him up the middle. They brought him off the left side right there, but this time it's picked up, and Bayless just keeps this play alive. It's tough to cover for that long for that secondary, but right there, Brian Ciccone coming up with a great reception right there.
Picked up 21 and the first down. Steretti gives it up, and we're going to see some razzle-dazzle, and this one's going to fall incomplete. That was Joey Orlando throwing the ball.
And Wofford was not fooled on that play right there. The free safety, James Otto, number 11, stayed home. Great job. They sensed something was up right there. The wide receiver kept going upfield. Great pursuit right there again by Wiley, and it was covered up. Great job staying home by that secondary. James Otto, he's another guy that these players thought was a little bit overlooked for all conference. Just a smart player, not a super dynamic playmaking guy, but always in the right spot, and he was there again.
Bayless to get out of bounds to stop the clock with 10:57 to go in the ball game.
There's Alvin Ciano. He's been a big-time player in this game. Mike McCrimmon, the other linebacker. They really run this 3-4 defense to a T here. Really do a good job. And it's those linebackers and ends that really get after the quarterback, apply a lot of pressure, make a lot of big plays.
Wildcats 7 for 13. They open up the game 1 for 4 on 3rd down.
Interesting formation to the top of the screen right there, the 3 wide receiver stack.
Bayless steps up, fires, had his man open and threw it behind him. That was Allison. Jared Allison was open at about the 28-yard line.
Yeah, and I think Allison was thinking that ball was going to be thrown a little more toward the sideline. It looks like they're thinking about going for this play, and at this point, what do you got to lose?
Well, down 23-7, 10:33 to go. You're at the 40.
Looks like Wofford's going to call a timeout right here.
Sean McDonald, 14th year, former defensive back, 75 and 76 when they were with the Yankee Conference champs. They trailed 23-7. John McDonald facing a 4th down. They trail in the ball game 23-7. You see 10:33 to go in the game. And Rocky, what do you call here?
Well, I'll tell you what, with the way the pressure that Wofford's been able to apply with 5 sacks today, I think it's important to get the quarterback outside the pocket. I think you got to roll Goldrich or Bayless outside, and then after that you got to start looking for R.J. Harris or Joey Orlando. Those are your 2 big-time wide receivers, but they have not been able to protect well on 3rd down today. I think you got to get him outside the pocket.
Setien's in the backfield, so 4 wideouts. Bayless, wow. Heavy pressure, buys some time. Penalty flag drop, throws it into the end zone, and it falls incomplete. Again, penalty flag back at about the 47-yard line.
Well, they got outside the pocket, but not by design. And again, that's why I thought they had to get outside, because with the pressure they brought.
Holding number 78 of the offense. The penalties declined. 1st down, Wofford.
It's Rob Bowman, a sophomore from Connecticut.
Yeah, just a hold right there. Again, it was Tarek Odom. It looked like, yeah, he just grabbed it a little bit with on the breastplate right there. But again, that's why you like to get the quarterback outside the pocket. If your offensive line cannot block for you, got to move the pocket, get outside, sprint outs, roll outs. And I think that's what they should have done right there. And you see what happens when they don't.
Well, Bayless actually did a pretty good job staying away from Alvin Ciano. Ciano, number 4, came busting through there in a hurry. So now the Terriers have the football with 10:23 to go, and they have the lead. And nowhere to go for Lawson. And boy, a great job sniffing that one out. Yeah, that was number 55. That was Jay Colbert.
Yeah, Jay Colbert's first time we've called his name today, but that was a great play, staying on the quarterback. That was his assignment. He took him down before he could pitch that ball.
Second and 13. Johnson somehow gets up over the 45-yard line. It's going to make it a manageable 3rd down.
You just got to love the way these running backs, whether it's Johnson, Breitenstein, they just keep their legs churning after contact. That's something you really can't teach, but they got it for sure. You see so many backs, even great running back will stop their feet after contact. These guys keep those legs churning.
Thought about this ball control offense right after this play. 3rd down play. They keep it right up the middle. Johnson's not going to make it. You know, Rocky, of the 53 scoring drives, only 14 have been 10 plays or more. Only 10 have lasted longer than 5 minutes. That's a little bit surprising considering how well they move the ball on the ground. You'd think there'd be longer scoring drives than that.
Yeah, it really has. But, I mean, look here today, 2 long touchdown runs by Breitenstein. So they kind of chip away, but they've done a good job of also breaking some long ones.
It's Donovan Johnson. We talked about the fact that he was 33 yards shy of 1,000 last year. He's been dinged up a little bit. But as Rocky pointed out, still averages 8.8 yards per carry. And clock is running 8:24. And they're going to give up the football with the lead. Heavy rush. They wind up getting off a good punt. And good coverage. So the Wildcats, they trail, and they have a lot of green in front.
Yeah, that was a nice job by Michael Harp. He's usually a tight end, but a great job rushing down right there on that punt coverage, giving his field great possession.
So nice job by Redfern on the punt, and good coverage as well by Harp. Well, New Hampshire facing a 23-7 deficit has the ball inside the 5-yard line. But, Rocky, let's go back and take a look at some of the big plays of this ball game, starting with Breitenstein with a big 4th down play.
Yeah, he's really been the story there. This is the 4th play of the game. He scampers for a 52-yard run, then his 2nd touchdown right there. This is his 3rd. This one, a 26-yard touchdown run. He has really been the story, carried the load for this offense, but it's the defense of Wofford that's really stepped up. There's Siano with a big interception. They also have 5 sacks on the day and another interception by Nyam. This is the only play, really, that New Hampshire's had to get going all day. Their only score came on that sack strip right there by Busby, picked up by Mueller. And again, that's their only productive play so far. And now they're faced deep in their territory. They're going to have to go on about a 98-yard drive here, Mike.
Yeah, Wofford held South Carolina under 300 yards, but the coaching staff of New Hampshire has to be somewhat shocked that a football team averaging 36.5 points stands on a defensive touchdown, and that's all they have. As you look at the numbers so far, Wofford 13-0 at halftime, and now with the 23-7 lead. 7.1 yards per carry.
And that's really been the story. That's a huge number right there. 7.1, usually on average about 3.5. If you hold a team to 3.5, you're playing good defense, but 7.1, you are not playing good defense.
And Scaritti gets the call shy of the 10-yard line. The junior from Toms River, New Jersey. He has 5 100-yard games this year. And against Old Dominion, he rushed for 201, but he just hasn't been able to break away from this Wofford defense.
Yeah, and again, it's that defensive line. We talked about it coming into this game, how big of a force they were, and they've really lived up to the task here today of not letting those New Hampshire running backs get into the second level, keeping them contained. They've really done a great job.
We approach the 7-minute mark, and it's 3rd down for Wofford, or for New Hampshire, rather. New Hampshire, that's Harris. Harris has the 1st down. I was just about to ask you, the last time we saw him go for 4th down, but they were inside Wofford territory. If they hadn't completed that ball, do you go for it or you punt it away?
I think you got to punt it away at that point, but unfortunately for them, they don't have to make that decision. But good job. They brought a little pressure right there. They brought the safety off the edge. Offensive line picked it up. Quarterback delivered the ball to R.J. Harris.
Goldrich fires to Harris again. Harris with another completion up over the 20-yard line. R.J. Harris, only a sophomore. He had only 2 catches against Towson. 3 games prior, he had 7 for 88, 8 for 131, 10 for 77. So he's been productive in this game, but he's one of the lone bright spots.
Yeah, he really is. The only real bright spot on offense, and a lot of his catches have kind of come over the middle right there, which is okay in the early part of this game. But right now, Wofford's defense is say, look, we'll give you that 4 or 5 yard catch, just milk the clock on out.
Harris 10 for 72 so far, and Goldrich is going to throw it again. Wow, he threw it behind his man. That was Justin Mello. And Mello, you knew if he caught that one, he was going to get hit.
Yeah, I heard the footsteps a little bit, but you got to put that on the quarterback, Goldrich, a little bit. He's got to deliver that ball. You got a wide-open wide receiver in a playoff game. You got to get him that football.
If he leads them, he probably had some yards after the catch.
Yeah, he had some yards after the catch as well. Good job of getting open. You just got to deliver the football when you get the opportunity.
So it's 2nd and 10. Nice hole on the right side, and they're up over the 40-yard line. And that was Jimmy Owens, the sophomore. Mentioned him during the coaches' conference calls, but that's the first carry for Owens here this afternoon.
See these linebackers and safeties creeping up there. Siano. Bring 4.
Again, the intended receiver was Mello, and again, this time a little bit too far in front.
And you got to wonder at this point in the game if that pressure, those 5 sacks that that Wofford has put on the quarterback here, Goldrich, if he's starting to just affect him a little bit mentally. He's kind of getting rid of that ball a little too soon. He had a little more time to put his back foot in the ground and deliver that football. But again, when you're facing pressure like Wofford's ball all day, that's always a tough task.
Another 4th down situation, 4th and short though. Ciccone, the tight end, moves to his right. Setian picks up the 1st down, fights his way out to about the 44-yard line.
So they pick it up, and they're putting together a couple drives here. But look, at this point in the game, this is exactly what Wofford wants to do. Just give up the 5-yard play, milk that clock out. They're playing a lot of 2 deep. Just don't give up anything big over the top.
Corner blitz that time. They pick it up nicely, and they complete that ball up to the midfield stripe.
And Wofford thinks that ball might have hit the ground. Joey Orlando's had a few catches here today. He's usually the red zone guy, but unfortunately New Hampshire's not found his way into the red zone at all today.
Yeah, they've been prolific so far this year in the red zone, and there's pressure again. Ciano and Vela somehow gets away from him, and Harris pulls it in for another first down.
And Ciano is sick right now. He had another sack, and looks like he may be a little dinged up on that play. But credit Velas for getting away, avoiding that rush. But they cannot afford to lose Ciano. He's been a dynamic player, and I'll tell you what, Todd McShay, no one's really mentioned him in terms of next level NFL stuff, but he's only a junior. But I got to think next year he'll be on that watch list. 6'2", 215 pounds, can run, got great hips, always find himself around the ball. He's a good player.
This Wofford defense so far this afternoon, we've seen pressure on the quarterback, aggressive play by the cornerbacks, good play by the linebackers. A very, very impressive performance by this Wofford defense.
It really has. It hasn't been just one area of that football team. The defensive lines played great, linebackers all over the field, and again, those secondary players, those corners are very formidable in the run as well.
Again, the winner of this game will take on the winner of North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Georgia Southern was beating Central Arkansas, and Old Dominion is taking on Coastal Carolina. Montana State, Stony Brook tonight at 7 o'clock. Sam Houston State currently taking on Cal Poly. And Illinois State, Appalachian State, and Boone going at it right now. And the Eastern Washington Wagner later tonight.
And with Wofford, with this game pretty much in hand, they're rooting for South Dakota State, because if they win, they get another home game. They would like to do that rather than travel to the Fargo Dome in North Dakota. That's always a tough place to play.
Old Dominion winning the CAA with a 7-1 record. New Hampshire, Richmond, Villanova, Towson all finishing at 6-2. As Velas wants to go deep for the big ball, and he had his man. And Mello, this time it was late in there, and he couldn't pull it in.
He really didn't. How about the recovery speed by Blake Wiley, number 3, the cornerback? He was beat right there. He had Mello deep, and the ball hung up just a little too far in the air. But look at the recovery speed right there. At the last second, finds the ball in the air, puts his right hand out. I cannot tell you how tough of a play that is right there. But Blake Wiley, we've talked about him in the run game today, that time making a great play in the secondary.
It's the 12th play of the drive right here for Velas and company as he spins his way up to the 40-yard line. So the Wildcats averaging 36.5 points. They're 94% in the red zone. They have yet to taste that red zone.
They need to find a way to get in. If it's going to happen, it's going to be on this drive.
Velas, plenty of time. This time overshoots his man. And the intended receiver was Joey Orlando at about the 25-yard line.
And you can kind of just tell, I mean, New Hampshire, if they're forced to throw the ball, that's not really what they do. You know, the quarterback play has not been very efficient, whether it's Goldrich or Velas. Haven't done a good job of delivering the football to the wide receivers. And again, Wofford has pretty much got this game in hand at this point.
Another 4th down play.
And I would get the quarterback outside the pocket here. We'll see what they do. Try to find R.J. Harris, Mello, Orlando, one of those guys.
This could be the game set match right now for the Cats. Velas goes down. Probably a second late getting the football to Joey Orlando. He was open inside the 5-yard line.
What a great play right there by James Otto. He was a cover 2 safety right there. That ball hung up a little bit, and he had the speed to get to the outside part of the field right there and knock that ball at the last minute.
4:20 to go. Andy Velas, Joey Orlando, James Otto on the spot. 23-7 Wofford, and now they can eat some clock. Mike Ayers has the lead and the ball as we check in with Rontina.
Hey, thanks. Mike Ayers is the longest tenured D1 coach in South Carolina. I talked to his staff as far as what makes him so good and have such longevity here, and they say it's because he's very hands-on. I'm not going to tell you who told me this story, but in Montana, they were there for a playoff game. It was raining, it was turning to snow, and they were trying to get the team back that night from the airport, and they didn't think the plane would take off on time. Could not find Coach Ayers. He was in the underbelly of the plane loading the luggage and the equipment up onto the plane because he wanted to get home in time, guys. So definitely hands-on.
Old school, huh? Old school guy. We enjoyed talking with him yesterday, and he had a lot of confidence yesterday, if you recall. He thought his team would really come out and play well, and boy, they sure have, Mike.
Yeah, 3 of the last 5 years they finished in the top 10. I reminded him that I called their game in 03 here against Western Kentucky. And Western Kentucky was favored in that game, and they scored an 80-yard touchdown pass on the first play of the game, and that was about it. And Coach Ayers says, yeah, about the second series, they knew that they came to the wrong ballpark. So he's very confident in his abilities and his team.
Yeah, but...
So timeout on the field with 4:14 to go. Kansas State's fantastic regular season comes to a close with a must-win finale in Manhattan. Colin Klein and the Wildcats look to secure a Big 12 title and the automatic BCS bid against Case McCoy and the Texas Longhorns. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8, number 18 Texas, number 6 Kansas State. That's tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Boy, Colin Klein, Kansas State. I mean, BCS is nice, but boy, they had that national championship. I know you're a but I mean, that had to be heartbreaking for a Kansas State fan.
You're right. They got to be absolutely sick. I remember looking at that game, and you circled that one saying, okay, Baylor gave up 70 points to West Virginia. Surely Kansas State and Colin Klein will come in and win this game, and they sure laid an egg. And, you know, Coach Snyder's got to be thinking what could have been. They played so well all year and then just did not show up for that one.
Former linebacker for the Fighting Irish, what were your thoughts when Oregon and Kansas State both go down on the same day?
Well, my initial thought was careful what you wish for, because, you know, if both teams lost like Oregon and K-State did, then you're looking at possibly facing Alabama, which turns out to be the case. And I got
Georgia.
Or Georgia. No, I've said earlier in the week, I really think Georgia has a chance. They're more of a veteran team right now. Their quarterback's one of the most efficient players in college football right now, so I think they got a real chance, and they've got some momentum. Jarvis Jones, that linebacker, boy, he can sure play, so they're going to give Alabama all they got.
So Wofford, I think it's safe to say, will move on to play the winner of that South Dakota State game. Georgia Southern, they've been to the semifinals in back-to-back seasons, losing to North Dakota State last year. Look at Appalachian State in Boone, tied up at 31 with 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, they're in a slugfest right there. That's got to be a great game. And Appalachian State is so good in the playoffs. Illinois State giving them a run for their money.
And North Dakota State's got a couple of touchdowns on South Dakota State's. And we're back to live action here. 3rd and 8 for the Terriers of Wofford. And nice tackle on Cam Flowers as Flowers tries to turn the corner.
Yeah, that was Stephen Thames right there on the tackle. And one thing we didn't really mention, because it hasn't really been much of a factor, but Dontre Peters, their #1 cornerback, surprisingly did not play in this game, came out in street clothes for the coin toss. Again, must have been a little bit dinged up in the last game, but again, could have maybe been a little bit more of a factor in the run game, Dontre Peters.
Yeah, Peters nursing an ankle sprain. And, of course, Wofford, Mike Ayers, the winningest coach in school history. And to talk about icons here at Wofford, that's Jerry Richardson right there, the owner of the Carolina Panthers. He played here, graduated 1959, went to the Baltimore Colts. And people probably remember that are of that age. In 1959, the Giants Colts, Johnny Unitas hit the rookie Richardson with a big touchdown pass in the 4th quarter of that ball game.
And it's a very proud man right there. He gets to bring his Carolina Panthers up here to Wofford College for training camp. Such great facilities they have here.
Number 51, Sean Graves, #1. The other side of that scoreboard also has his number retired. There's a fumble. And when it rains, it pours, as Redfin picks it up and gets the first down.
Like you said, when it rains, it pours. You know it's your day when you miss a snap on a punt and somehow turn it into a first down. It's been all Wofford today. And you see right there on the snap, I'm not sure exactly what happened. Looked like he just went to drop that ball to kick it and missed his foot with it and decides to just take off and run, picks up the first down.
So you don't think they practiced that last week?
I don't think so. I don't think that's, Mike Ayers does a lot of tricky things, but I don't think that's one of them.
So a new set of downs inside the 45-yard line now with 3:50 to go in the ball game. Brad Nosek, and he's hit at the 40. Forward progress gets him inside the 40 to about the 39.
And I think, Wofford right now, you just talk about going into next week. Looks like they're going to get out of this game healthy. You didn't see much of Breitenstein here in the second half because they really didn't need him, so they get to rest him. Again, keep some tread on those tires. We saw Odom go down. We saw Rosenborough go down. Both the defensive ends. Looks like they're going to be okay. They came back, so it's important they get a big victory. Looks like they're going to come out of this game healthy, and looking forward to next week.
And I said they were going to eat some clock, and Redfern, the punter, made sure that they get more opportunity to eat some clock. Still running their offense. Looks like they Donovan Johnson still in the ball game. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. So inside the 3 minutes, they're not exactly eating clock per se. Looks like they're trying to get some more points.
Yeah, they're running their offense, and that's usually what these coaches say. Look, we're going to run our offense the way we do it, try to get some clock, but if we can get in the end zone, that'll work too.
Well, the Terriers will move to 19-1 against non-conference competition here since 2000. They'll be 6-0 at home so far in 2012, but more than likely they will hit the road, head up to the Fargo Dome to take on North Dakota State, last year's champions. And Lawson keeps it down just shy of the 35-yard line as we approach the 2-minute mark.
And there we see Jared Smith. Looks like he's not going to be coming back into this game. He's going to play his last game as a Wildcat. And he's going to be looking forward to preparing for that combine or the new Senior Bowls, things like that, to try to get himself a spot on an NFL roster next year.
4th down, but we're inside 2 minutes. 4th down, a couple of yards to go. Lawson's gone, I want to say the distance. We did see Brian Cass on one play, picked up a 33-yard run, and Nosek is going to get a first down. Looks like he got right to the marker and pushed back. The forward progress should give him a good spot.
Yeah, New Hampshire doesn't think so, but I think, like you said, his forward progress is going to give him the first down. So just a toss sweep right here to the right. Breaks a couple tackles. How many times have we seen that today? And look at the legs turn right there. I think, yeah, he got past that. Look, yeah, they're setting the chains. First down for Wofford. Now they're going to take a couple knees, and that's going to be the ball game, Mike.
Yeah, Nosek only had 18 carries coming into the ball game on the season, but he's been productive here. You can see why he's averaging 7.6 yards a carry.
And that's important. Again, you get another running back going, getting him some momentum, getting him some touches. Can't emphasize enough. As you get longer into the playoffs, you need more guys. Guys start to go down. You get an injury. Can't afford to let an injury ruin your season. They got a lot of depth on this Wofford team.
Some long faces on that New Hampshire sideline. They went out in the second round last year. This, of course, is the second round again. And Wofford will move on to the quarterfinals. Southern Conference, this will be their 97th win in postseason. And how about Breitenstein the day he had?
Yeah, and I think he probably could have eclipsed that 321 he had if they would have kept him in the game. But I think it's a smart move. Gets a big-time day, but they get to keep him, get a little bit of rest, and head into next week feeling very confident about their football team.
Well, Breitenstein told us yesterday he might get 257. He came awful close with 246. Your final thoughts on the game?
Now, I think you really got to like how Wofford's playing right now. Offensively, played great, established that run game, got a lot of players involved, but defensively, how about the way those corners played? Grade defensive line also applied a lot of pressure on the quarterback. 5 sacks. They look tough here so far, Mike.
Well, for Rocky Boyman and Rontina McCann and our entire ESPN3 crew, Mike Gleason saying so long from Gibbs Stadium in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Final score, Wofford 23-7. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. So long, everybody, from Spartanburg, South Carolina.